I'm here. We're getting ready to start in just a few minutes. Just keep putting where you're from over in the chat. That'd be great. Well, welcome everyone. I am Forrest. I'm your host this evening. Welcome to our YouTube channel, PrepperNet Live. We got a lot of good stuff in store tonight. Want to welcome you. Everyone's been putting where they're from over in the chat box. I have some moderators in there. Let's be nice and friendly over there. A little bit later, Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy's coming on. They're scheduled to come on around 9, a little bit before maybe, but I've got some incredible stuff to share with you guys. So we're going to talk a little bit about prepping, what's going on, and then at 9, your questions. We're going to answer every question. If it takes us, okay, we're not going to answer every question. We'll answer most questions, but I'm going to share some information with you guys. And I want to welcome everyone from the PrepperNet, Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy, Son of, and all the outlets that you heard about this. I want to welcome you. So I got a whole list of stuff, some good stuff. This is good stuff. Everybody saying hello, hello. Yeah, you always ask, a lot of people ask, well, you said you're going to start at 8 and you just play music. Well, we want everyone to get in really before we start and put where they are. So it's on purpose that we really don't start until around 8:05, and it's 8:05 right now, or a little bit, 5 minutes late in there. And there's always the trolls and the people that go, doesn't start until 8, 3 minutes into it. Fine. So tonight I'm going to cover some general info. I'm going to kind of give you some of my thoughts. We're going to talk about my family. We're going to talk about kids and teenagers in general. And then we're going to talk about do's and don'ts. We got all kinds of things we're going to talk about. I want everyone to know that all content that PrepperNet is putting out currently is absolutely free. We don't charge a thing. It is absolutely free right now. And that's because this information is important. And you go, what do we sell? We really don't sell anything. We do have a membership program, but this is not about that. The membership, you're supposed to get bigger and better stuff, but right now I've just kind of put that on hold because it's too important to hold anything back. I want that to be noted. And I'm just saying that because a lot of people have said a few things. So there's absolutely nothing being sold at PrepperNet right now. So with that said, let's go to the next page. So I want to give you guys about my thoughts. We're going to get right in the heart of this. I am not going to beat around the bush tonight. I'm going to try to have a good time, but I'm going to tell you guys things that come from experience, from knowledge, from research, from intel that I have gathered and others have gathered. You can imagine we have a huge organization. If you take 30,000 people and you and you look at the contacts and the information that we can get from that, it's pretty incredible. To being one off from people like senators and CIA, it's crazy. But so I've taken all this information and I'm going to relay it to you guys in a positive spin, but but it's going to be truthful. So the first thing I want to do is, a lot of you may be wondering, what is PrepperNet? PrepperNet is this organization I created years ago because I needed to meet other people that prepared. And so I created PrepperNet. PrepperNet is an organization of like-minded individuals who believe in personal responsibilities, individual freedoms, and preparing for disasters of all origins. Just like this. Could be a big disaster. Could be a small one. Depends on how we work together as a team. This group is aimed at individuals that have interest in gaining knowledge, acquiring new skills, and networking with like-minded individuals like preppers, survivalists, homesteaders, tiny house. We're all kind of, bundled in there. So we actually have meetups in like 65 cities in the United States. A lot of them are on hold right now. Some of them are not, but you can check your city, see if there's a meetup there. There's and you can join and meet other like-minded individuals. So, a little bit about me. I hate putting this slide, and if you notice, when I did my last few slides, I haven't done this, but my team has said that I have to do this, and I really don't like it. But anyway, so I don't normally do this until they jump on me, then I make it disappear for a while. But here's some of my background. I was a banker. I was I'm former Air Force. I'm a survival instructor. I'm an NRA instructor. I'm a ham radio operator. I'm a Krav Maga apprentice instructor. I'm a speaker, educator. I do a podcast and radio show called the Prepping Academy. I'm an author. I wrote a book. It's across the room called The Case for Christian Preparedness. I'm the founder of PrepperNet, and I'm also I'm not the founder. I'm the CEO of Sun Oven. Sun Oven's been around a long time. So with that said, Sun Oven, I'm the CEO of Sun Oven. Sun Oven makes this incredible appliance you put in the sun, and it cooks your food up to temperatures of 400 plus degrees, depending on where you are. Even in the snow, you can set this appliance out. The sun reflects off the reflectors, goes into the chamber, heats up your food, and cooks your food. It's the most amazing food you'll ever taste, I promised. But this thing saves lives too. A third of the earth still uses wood to cook. And when mothers in like the continent of Africa have their babies strapped to them in their little hut, the babies get respiratory infections. And matter of fact, that's one of the leading causes of death in Africa for young kids. And so this thing saves lives. It also takes no power, and it's amazing to cook with. I know a lot of you guys already have one, but I love this company. It saves lives, and it could fit in your preparedness barn. So here's the Prepping Academy. You can find it on every podcast place out there available. It's mediocre. The Joe Rogan, awesome. Prepping Academy. Right before you get bored, this is a good thing to go to. Kyle is my partner in this, co-host. We have fun. We just sit and chat about preparedness and things. And he's a conspiracy guy. I'm not so much a conspiracy guy, but so we have some good times. It's interesting. So we do have all these free videos as well on our YouTube channel. I've already interviewed Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy, but you didn't get to ask them questions. I interviewed them. I interviewed Charlie. These are the best preparedness experts in the world right here. I handpicked these people to be on my expert panel. And these are the best. And you can look through there. These videos are available. What it was is I asked questions to them, and they, in a sense, gave the answer about coronavirus, everything. Mostly sticking with pandemics and everything. So you can go watch them at your convenience. Again, it's all about the people I interviewed, not about me at all. At least I try to make it that way. So next slide is, I do want to say this. I am not here to preach fear. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to tell you what I think is going to go on and what you need to do. But God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind. And so I don't want to be scaring you. I want to make sure that you have the information that you need and you can use that information wisely to protect you and your family. Plain and simple. I hope that's good. Here's a book that I wrote. I tried to make this free, but with KDP, I can only make it free for 5 days and a quarter, and I've already done that this quarter. I mean, if you know, I'm not going to go tell you to go. You can download it for like, I think it's 99 cents or $1.99 and download it. If you wait the next quarter, I'm sure I'll have it for free again. I'm not trying to make money by this, but I'm trying to get the information out. But Amazon limits me of what I can do with the book once I published it with them, and download it even on my site would be breaking the rules. So anyway, I can only do that for select people actually. But anyway, that's my book. It's good. Okay, it's okay. So I do want to tell you PrepperNet. That's who we are. PrepperNet is, I went over what PrepperNet, but you can find us at preppernet.com. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. And all I want is your email address. And you don't have to do that. But so when we do presentations like this, if you're interested in getting the next presentation, or you want to know, matter of fact, that's all I ever mail out really from PrepperNet that I can remember in the last 2 months is when I'm doing a live event or something. But if you go in there and you sign up for a basic membership, it gives you some stuff, some free stuff you can use and information. But it lets me have your email address so I can email you when we're doing events like this. Or you can join our Facebook group. Facebook groups are interesting, but you can join it. There's some of the smartest people in the world when it comes to preparedness. If you ask a question, you'll get 30, 40, 50 comments, and they will answer your question. Then we got people that we have to kick off because they're just a little, we've taken care of them. But anyway, join us on our Facebook site as well. It's a great place to connect. If you find a meetup in your city, that means there's a Facebook page that corresponds with that as well. So let's say you're in Indianapolis, Indiana. We have a meetup there, but we also have a Facebook page just for those folks in Indiana. So we have that throughout the United States. This is our main Facebook page where a lot of people will come to. It's where I post a lot, and a lot of my city leaders will as well. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, perfect. So that's me. I'm Forrest. Nice meeting you guys. I'm going to share some of my thoughts. I'm not going to, my goal is not to scare you. It's to educate you and get you mentally prepared for what's getting ready to come on. So I got all kinds of notes here. I'm going to share my thoughts. The first thing I'm going to do is share a few thoughts with you guys. And it's this. This is going to get really bad. A lot of people a week ago said no. And a lot of people next week will go, you just don't believe what a week can do in this business, in this pandemic. 2 weeks ago, United States was not even really too much on the radar. But this is going to get bad. So we need to be ready. Getting bad does not mean doom and gloom. Doom and gloom. But it just means we got to get prepared and ready and mentally ready to go through this. I do have a couple of predictions as well. I feel like Johnny Carson. I think all public schools in the United States are going to be canceled for the rest of the year. Absolutely. So get ready for that. Even if it doesn't happen, if you get ready and get your family ready, if it does, it doesn't destroy, it doesn't make your life crazy. I think all public schools are going to be canceled for the rest of the year. Private schools and colleges will continue because a lot of them have instituted or implemented technology where they can do online classes. And that's just one of my predictions. I also predict they're going to shut down all restaurants and bars. In any place that you go, skating rings, anything like that, they're going to shut it down. The government's going to ask them to shut it down. And you go, they'll never do that. Well, guess what? Ohio's done it. Several states have already done it. Ohio just came out with breaking news that they want all bars and restaurants shut down. And I know there's other states. I just can't remember them. And I'm sure you guys will chat about it in the chat room there. But it's going to happen. So the only places you'll be able to go is shop. It will be grocery stores at one point. The Home Depot and Lowe's may be open, but the malls will be shut down. And I'm not doing this to scare you guys. I'm just telling you what's coming. Italy did this. And in other places are doing this. I'm just being real with you guys. Take this information, and if I'm wrong, praise the Lord. If I'm right, at least you thought about it and maybe prepared for it just a little bit. So here's another thing. Let me show you another slide. Whoops. This is breaking news. Breaking news, though. Going outside is not canceled. You can do Mr. Wilson to the fence and talk to other people. Music is not canceled. Family is not canceled. Reading, singing, laughing, hope is not canceled. So what we do have, let's make the best of it. That's just breaking news. That just came in. So hope you guys, did y'all see that? Y'all didn't even see that. Hang on. Let me do this. Here we go. Boom. Oh, right there you go. So these things are not canceled. Spending time with your family, reading, singing, laughing, hope is not canceled. Getting outdoors, listening to music is not canceled. You can still do that. Even with schools completely closed, restaurants closed, malls closed, Bed Bath & Beyond closed, all the stores closed, you can still do this stuff. So if this happens, which I think it's going to happen, again, it's already, this stuff, the closing's already happened in some states. Let's start thinking about that in your mind. Okay, what's going to happen? What things do I need maybe from Home Depot where if I'm shut in, maybe I can paint this room? Or what other things could you think about that you might would do? And we're going to get into a little bit of that, but listen, life's not canceled because of this is going on, okay? I just want to, there's hope at the end of this. But I got one more slide here I want to show you though. Here is, we got to come up with a name for this, but I call it Team America. We've got to work together on this. You could completely stop this if everybody in the United States went in their house and stayed for 45 days. It would completely stop. It would. I mean, so if you can, the matches, I like this scenario because it's one person giving it to another person, giving it to another person. How do you stop this? Is you have the separation and that stops it. And we've got to do this as Americans. We got to do this. We got to come as a team and do this. And if we don't, we either win as a team or we lose as a team when it comes to this. And we've got to have that mindset. We've got to do this together. If you came in late, Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy, they're coming up in just a little bit. In about 40 minutes, they'll answer every question you have. So I do want to make a few statements here, is that I am sick and tired, and I think it's very disrespectful for people to say, well, only the old people are dying. I think that's disrespectful to human life. Because I have a mother and a father. You probably have a mother and a father. They're probably maybe in their age range or you're in that age range. We've got to stop saying that. All people matter. Even if it's affecting the elderly people. They matter though. And they do matter, and we can't just say, "Oh, I'm safe because, it's only." That is just disrespectful. It's wrong, and we've got to get that out of our mind. It's going to get worse. As a matter of fact, they said this today on TV when they had a little briefing. Once they start testing, I don't know how many cases we have now, but let me look here. We have around in the United States, a little over 3,200 cases. It's gonna go from 2,000 cases to 10,000 cases to 20,000 cases in the next week. And the reason why is because all the tests are going to be they're starting to test a lot more efficient and more rapid. And so the numbers are going to go up, and they're going to go up like straight up, and it's going to scare you. Don't let it scare you. They tell us that it's going to go up, and it's going to go up dramatically. So knowing that, let's kind of be prepared for that. So when you see, the nightly news, when you get home and you go, what? There's been 9,000 more people today. We're doomed. No, people, no. Yes, they're just, the only reason it's going to go up big time is because of the testing. So just be prepared for that. So a couple of things that we need, and I'm not going to be all over the board, but that's kind of the way I operate here a little bit. So today was Sunday, so I went to church in front of my TV, and I watched my church service on TV, and my wife, and we watched, and it was great. I even shared it on PrepperNet. My music minister, which we love, and my pastor. And some of you guys watched it. Some of you enjoyed it. So don't let life, so we can't go to church. I still interact with the people I like at church, and, people that will interact with me, I guess. But, life goes on. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the church thing here in a little bit. We do need to change some of our ways. And some of the things I want you guys to get in your head and think about is, okay, everyone needs, you're going to the ATM, going to the gas station. I would suggest putting some gloves in your car. Everyone's focused on the mask. Great, I got mask right here. No problem. Mask is when you're around other people. Don't be around other people, and you don't need them. But when you go to the ATM or you go to the gas station, have a little box. I bought a box of gloves at Walmart. It was about 2:30 in the morning. There's a story behind that. You can read that on PrepperNet. And I bought a box of gloves so I could have. So anytime I go to the gas station, I put one glove on, kind of like Michael Jackson style. I put my card in. I actually put my card in with my left hand, put it in my pocket, punch in with the keys, get pumped, put it in my car, and hit select the whatever, premium or whatever, regular. I'm a regular kind of guy on the gas there. And then I finish, I put it back in the thing. I hit no, don't want a receipt. I take my glove off. I throw it in the trash can there by the gas station, and I do my hands with some sanitizer. Same thing you do at the bank. That's just a little tip. That's a little tip for the night. So do that. Put some gloves in your car. Don't reuse the gloves though, because this virus can stay for up to 6. Some people are saying 9 days on surfaces. So just a little tip. See if I got everything here. Numbers going to go high. So yes. So let's talk about. I'm going to talk a little bit about my family. And if you heard this the other night, I am sorry. We're going to talk about it. I need to pray. So my son was in France Friday. That's right. 2 days ago, he was in France. Got on a plane Friday morning, flew to London, then flew to Chicago. So as he's flying from France to Chicago, we made a decision that we needed to quarantine him. And the group he went with were all coming back, and there's another young lady that was with them, and we talked to her parents because they both go to Chapel Hill. And so we talked the other parents. The other parents said, yeah, our daughter needs quarantine as well. So with that said, we had his car here at the house. We drove to the airport. We had the car full of food, totally full of food. When they came out of the terminal, I think my wife threw the keys to him. They got in the car. They went to Chapel Hill to quarantine because they have places there that they can stay and not be around other people, because none of the students are going back to Chapel Hill at this point. I think they're still on spring break. I don't know. But they have a place for 14 days. I am being a team player here. That's what this is. We don't know if they have it. We have no clue. They don't know. They weren't tested, which was kind of weird. Kind of was upsetting at all. No temperature, nothing. They came in right from Paris to Chicago, no test. Hopefully that's going to change. We have no idea. But for 14 days, we're going to make them go up there and they're going to be isolated. That is being a team player. That's being a good American right now. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but I just want you guys to do the same. We've got to do this together. It is totally up to us to make that work out. So that's my little tidbit on my family. I do want to say this. When you're prepared, because a lot of us are preppers or have thought about it, and I've been one for 20 years, and you know what? All of a sudden, I made this joke, and I'm just totally kidding, but I made this joke the other day, and I made it on the phone to Joe. He's in the chat room there. I'm like, you know what? It's weird. I go in a room, and I'm the smartest guy in the room, because it's kind of, people are like, oh, people out of the woodworks are contacting me and calling me, but preparedness gives you confidence, and that has been an amazing, piece that has been with me, that I've been prepared. But I do want to say that I don't put my trust in the food that I have or the friends that I've partnered myself with. Man, I put my trust in the Lord, and that's where you got to have the trust. But you got to, in my book, it talks about trust and obey. And God in the Bible tells you got to be able to take care of your family. Doesn't matter if you lose your job, doesn't matter an earthquake comes or a tornado, you've got to be able to take care of your family. So there's a trust and obey. And so with that, you gotta have trust in the Lord. But anyway, let's go to so yesterday, I was going to tell everybody that yesterday was Saturday. So what did I do? I wasn't running to the grocery store. I don't think we did live down. So yesterday we washed cars. We hung outside. We went to a family. My family, they did a low country bowl, which if a lot of you guys don't know, it's like sausage and shrimp and corn and potatoes and onions all mixed together, and we did it as a family, and we had a good time. We're still doing family things. Hope you guys weren't in the grocery stores waiting for 30 minutes to check out, but that's just kind of what my family we've been doing today. I watched some TV, fixed some things around the house. I washed my son's car. He just my other son, and so I want to share a few more things here. So I'm gonna take a drink of water here. I do wash the cup, by the way. So a lot of you guys know I work with teenagers, and I have for about 33 years. And I want to address the teenagers because I feel like I know. Actually, I got two in the house right now. My daughter, Cassidy. Hi, Cassidy. And her friend. I won't mention her name just to protect. But anyway, so teenagers want to talk about this. If you have teenagers, they want to talk about it. And they don't mind talking about it, but they would only prefer, I think, to do it once. Teenagers in general are optimistic people, I think. And I think it's okay to let teenagers kind of sometimes make fun or make jokes, and we may take it serious, and it is serious, but I think it's okay. A lot of times people will joke. I joke around a lot, even on this serious subject, but I think teenagers want to talk about it. And I think it's okay to let them joke around as well about it. And I just want to kind of set you up for that, because you're getting ready to spend a lot of time with your teenager if you have one. So who knew this, that homeschooler parents will be a person you would want to call right now? I mean, who knew? So, because guess what? I don't think your kid's going to go to school till maybe next August or September. And guess who knows they know how to manage kids and give them tasks to do? Homeschool parents. I'm just saying, they become valuable even more than, I'm telling you. So if you know a homeschool parent, I would be calling them and saying, hey, what kind of activities? What do you do? How can what's some of the things my kids should be doing? Because if you're going to let your teenager and your kid just walk around and do nothing for the next 5 months, that's going to be tough. So think about this. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming. I don't see any way possible that is not coming. And if y'all disagree with me, I'm just telling you. So think through this. Start planning. So what things can you go buy at the store right now? No one's making a rush to the bookstore. No one. So you could go. So the reason, and let's see where I get into that. I'll get into that. So yeah, I'll get into that next. No one's making a mad rush to Barnes & Noble or any of the bookstores or buying school books, things for the read, things like that for their teenager or their kid. It's just not happening. If they are, that's pretty cool. So start thinking about that. You need to maybe start thinking about a schedule. I'm not saying doing it right now, because you don't know. Possibly schools won't be canceled, but I think it will. And see, public schools, most of them just don't have the technology. That's why I'm saying it, to video or do it. So, and another thing, I'm fortunate enough, my kid goes to the cheapest private school around, and they have everyone's email address. And a lot of public schools, they can't get in touch with their parents as easy as other schools. But anyway, so you might want to start thinking about a schedule for your kids. You might want to understand that this isn't summer. And so don't let your kids think this is summer. Again, you don't want your kids just to be off for the next 5 months or 6 months. There's a lot smarter people out there than me on this. I'm just kind of just telling you that teenagers, they do like structure and they need structure. They need to continue to make their bed and do the exact same things that they have been doing. You make them do it. The things that they do when they go to school, make them do it. If they have chores, trust me, it would be better. And look at some reading programs or something. You just don't want your kids laying around and watching TV and becoming the best video game player in the world during this time. So that's just some thoughts on your kids and teenagers. Now probably wouldn't be a good time for them to go get a job. But so I'm going to go through a list here. We're doing good on time. So I hope this is helpful. Again, Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy is coming in the house in just a few minutes. So do's and don'ts. I'm going to tell you things that the government's not telling you, and I don't give a flip. Don't panic. Go get some food. Here's the reason why you want food now. And people go, well, Forrest, we don't want to panic and go get food. Well, when you need food, so right now in my county, there's 4 people that have the coronavirus. There's 4 people. So the last one was just, I think, yesterday. So 4 people. I would rather go to the grocery store when only 4 people in my community have the coronavirus than when there's 3,800 people in my community that have the coronavirus. I don't want to go to the grocery store then. there's a lot more chance, the percentages are higher that one of them went to the grocery store I went to, walked down the aisle I went to, I'm going down, and maybe even, I mean, you don't want to go get food at that point, and you're like, okay, well, if you want to wear a mask and gloves and go through the entire precautions, okay, so mask and gloves are great, and you need a mask, covers your eyes, water droplets can get in your eyes. If you're on the elevator, I'll just tell you how scary it is. Again, we put our trust in the Lord. If someone went to lunch that has the virus, and they got back from lunch at 1 o'clock, and they rode the elevator back up to their office, and at 4 o'clock, you're going home, you get in the elevator, and you go down the elevator, you could get the virus just from the air droplets. They're saying the air droplets, and they've case after case, can be in the air for 3 hours. You didn't even see the person. You couldn't hide from the person. So I recommend you go get food. You don't panic. You go get food. And you just wait in the lines, and you be nice to people. You don't panic. Very few people have, okay, let's look at this. As of today, tomorrow, when you go get food, very few people, very, very, very few people have the virus compared to in 30 days. See my point there? I'm not saying the food chain is going to be interrupted. They'll figure it out. What I am saying is there's only 4 people in my county that have it. I need to go get food now because that is at this point on, that is the safest time for me to go get food. So then you may ask, oh, am I panic buying? I don't care what you call it. I'm just telling what's best for you and your family. So how much food should you get? I think you should get a reasonable amount of food and maybe go back the next day and get a reasonable amount of food. I would suggest you have at least 2 months minimum of food. Go ahead, throw stones. That's my suggestion, at least 2 months of food, period. I would go with 3. Actually, I would go for more. And let me tell you why. Because in your neighborhood, there are probably some elderly people that if they go to the store and get the virus, they could literally die from it. Everyone doesn't prepare. So wouldn't it be a blessing if you had more food than you need that you could hand other people and keep them from going to the store and getting food? So why not prepare for that? So I'm just saying, guys, we're going to get through this. This isn't the end of the world. It's going to get really bad and ugly, though. It's pretty bad and ugly when your kids are home for 5 months, even if they go to school next fall. But I'm telling you, so anyway, also go get your medications right now. Go get your refills on your meds. Call your doctor and say, I want 3 months supplies. You don't want to go to the pharmacy when you want to go now, not when 48,000 people in your county has it. You want to do it now. As preppers, and a lot of you guys aren't preppers, but all the preppers here are like, well, we know this stuff. Well, now we're sharing it with you guys, and there's still some time. So get your medications. This is the do's and don'ts I'm going through, and then we're going to bring up Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy in just a minute. Do's and don'ts. So if you get sick right now, go to the hospital if you want to. It's okay. I wouldn't. But in a week, again, there's 4 people in my county. In a week, when there's 600 in my county, I'm not going to the doctor, period. I am not going to the hospital. You shouldn't either. You should have medications in your house unless you get to the point that it is life-threatening, you can't breathe, and you really need to go see one. But don't let it be your first choice, America's first choice. Oh, I need to go to the doctor. I get a little tickle on my throat. You know who else is going to be at the emergency room? Everyone in your community that thinks they have the coronavirus. And let's say that 80% of them don't. Let's say 90% of them don't. There's 10% in there you're just hanging out with, waiting to go see a doctor. So anyway, do quarantine. If your kids or someone have been around people with the virus, do quarantine for America, not just for yourself. Do it for America. We got to stop this. And it's a team approach. We either win or lose. Come on. We got to do that. This is a team approach. Hey, I would fill your car up with gas. Don't want to go get gas when you don't need to? Just go get gas. It's cheap. Go get gas. Fill it up. Make sure your family members have emergency phone numbers. Give them your neighbor's number. If you have grandparents or parents, get a neighbor's phone number and say, so you can call, hey, my mom hasn't responded on the phone. Can you go knock on the door and just see? This is just smart thinking. So get some emergency phone numbers. Your kid, I don't see the power going out at all. Cell phone towers are not going out at all. But there's sometimes that you don't want to, your mom's not answering the phone. She lives 45 minutes away. You don't want to just drive up there and find out she was working in the back in the yard. You could have a neighbor say, hey, you see my mom around? Is she? Oh, yeah, she's working in the backyard. Okay, fine, perfect. Because you're going to be a little bit more nervous when someone doesn't answer the phone or something. So go ahead and prepare. Do that now. We got time now. Do it. Also, this is, you got to love your neighbor, period. You got to love your neighbors. If you don't know your neighbors, you know what? The less it's so low of a chance that they would have the coronavirus right now. Go out and meet some of them. Don't get close. We talked to my neighbors today for about 30 minutes. Just talk to them and get to know them a little bit. Find out some information saying, hey, we'll be staying here. Probably won't be leaving. Talk to your neighbors and just be friendly with people. It is perfectly fine to stand 10 feet apart from someone outside and talk for days. So anyway, that's another to-do. Here's some more to-do is, have fence talk. Mr. Wilson, over the fence. Talk to your neighbors. Use the internet. Start researching. Okay, just start use the internet. And I got some different ways to use the internet. Hey, right now, go to Hobby Lobby. Buy some products that you can put together, crochet, paint. Go do it right now. Go ahead and plan that. There's not a big rush on Hobby Lobby, I'm sure, but you're going to be locked up in your house for a while. Buy some things. Learn. Okay, here's some ideas. Learn how to cook. You got food, or at least you should be buying it. Learn how to cook. Clean your house. Organize your house. Make this productive, not miserable. Again, send encouraging emails to people. If you're right, just send encouraging emails. Hey, guys, I'm praying for you guys. We're okay. Just missionary, whatever. Just send encouraging emails. Netflix and Amazon Prime. Don't watch Contagion. I watched that with my 16-year-old daughter about a month ago. Very interesting. Actually, watch a series on Netflix. I'm watching right now. So I read the book. It's called Washington's Secret Six Spy Ring or something like that by the guy on Fox. Awesome book. Unbelievable information about George Washington with all the spy network that he created. And who knew they made like a show about it, like 4 seasons. And I've been watching that. I probably started too soon, but find something like that. It's really cool and educational as well. So you got to come up with things to do. How about books? Right now, go Barnes & Noble doesn't have a run on books. Go get some books, some self-help books, some all kinds of books. You're going to be shut in for a while, and that's good. And you've got to, if you're prepared, it makes life so much easier, guys. You got to just do it. You got to get ready, and you got to have the mindset. I see Dr. Joe waiting. We're going to be there in just a second. But he's waiting to come online. And I'll give you instructions on how to do that. Hey, make a commitment to make yourself better. If it's self-help books, if it's God, we really need to be shut down for about 60 days. And I know that, someone said read Dr. Bones. Yeah. Yeah, go get Dr. Bones' books. Boom. Woo. They're thick. That's going to take some time. My book is like that. So anyway, so go ahead and start thinking about that. Get some food, get some things, activities, plan some things for your kids. So with that said, I know a lot of you guys have seen this, and I'm just going to bring it up. Let's see here. It's going to take me a second. I'm going to share the screen right here. All right, here it is. Okay, everybody's seen this screen. Man, it's kind of scary. I want you to know that when you go to the US right here, it says 3,244. I'm going to click on that. There's the US right there. I want you to see what it looks like today. That's what it looks like today. Get that in your mind. Okay? Because this is what it's going to look like right here. Bigger dots in just a week. I'm telling you, when they start doing these new testing, these dots are going to get bigger. It's just going to, don't let that scare you. Oh, it says, 3,249. Oh, what? Look, I don't know what the difference is there, but US. Yep. So anyway, don't let that scare you. You don't have to watch this map every day. What you have to do is help America by staying away from other people. And if you have it, don't immediately go to the hospital. You don't need, if you think you have it and you're okay, don't go get tested. Because let's say you just got the flu or a sore throat and you go to the hospital. Now you might want to go buy one of them. Actually, Google's doing a site. It's going to ask you questions and you answer the questions and it will tell you whether or not you should go get tested. Then it's going to tell you where you can go, CVS parking lot or Walmart parking lot. You go, you'll have a time that you go, you'll drive up, you'll wait. They'll come up and they go, "What's your name, Mr. Garvin?" "Yes." "Yep, I see your questions. And how you feeling?" "Okay, yep. Well, we're going to just take a little swab, whatever, and then we're going to, is this email address correct?" "Yep." "Okay, we'll email you the results within others." They said they got it down to 4 hours now. I'm not sure about these drive-through, if it's going to be 4. I think it's still 12 or 24 hours, 24. But today on the TV, they got it down to 4 hours. And that might just be from start to finish in the lab. I'm not sure about that. But you'll drive back home. Go straight home. Don't see anyone. Then they tell you, "No, you don't have it." And you're like, okay. But if you don't be showing up just to be tested, the goal is not to be counted if you have it. I wouldn't. 80% of Americans are going to get this. I'm just saying the numbers it's going to be crazy, but don't let all this scare you. You'll be fine. If you start, and we'll ask Dr. Bones, "Hey, at what point should I go? What point should I go?" Forget what they say. I need to go get help. Where do I go? Do you go straight to the, I'll call it the coronavirus emergency room, because that's what it's going to be. And also, don't be doing any extreme sports either. Because if you break your leg or break your arm and you go into the emergency room, all of a sudden you don't have it, and all of a sudden you're waiting for all these people, you're probably low priority too. I'm just saying, don't do anything that would put your life in any risk whatsoever where you need to go to the doctor. Hope this is helpful. Hey, I see people coming on. We're getting ready to go to Dr. Joe in just a second. But we started at 8, and I went through some practical things that you need to be thinking about and doing. And this thing's going to be recorded. It'll be on this same channel forever. I don't ever anticipate. So some links I want to show you. That's one link right there. It's kind of an interesting link. I do want to show you another link if you don't mind. And it's I don't know who made this up, but I really like it. And maybe you will too. And it's called, here it is. You can see the URL there. It's called infection2020.com. It's kind of interesting. When you open this up, it wants your location, and it will take you straight to your location and tell you. I don't know who makes this, guys. I don't, but they say, if you look down here at the bottom, they say that the data source is from the CDC, the WHO, I mean, all these people here, and they're charting this stuff. And so I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to zoom in here because everyone knows I live in Mecklenburg County in Charlotte, North Carolina, right there. Oops. And so I click on this, and it tells me there's 4 cases in Mecklenburg County because the other map didn't get down to the county level. There's 1 in Cabarrus County. I scoot on down here. There's 2 in Lancaster, or if you're from it's Lancaster or whatever. And then down here, Kershaw, 14 cases. There's not a city. I mean, it's outside of Columbia. Well, if y'all ever watch Live PD, there's a lot of mess goes down in Live PD down there. So in my town, Charlotte, North Carolina, my county is pretty much the whole city. 4 cases. I want to go shopping when there's 4 cases in my county and not 3,600. I hope y'all hear me on that. Can y'all see that? Yeah, y'all can see that. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to, that website is Infection 2020. Again, I don't know who makes that, but it's pretty accurate because I've tested it. And you can even go down here we have 65 deaths in the United States now. And you can click on your state and it will show you all kinds of stuff. And so pretty interesting. And I'll post that on inside the PrepperNet groups page. It is a closed group because we want to protect everyone's postings in there. We're not going to open it up for anyone can join, but we don't want to open it up because if we open it up, then Facebook and Google search engine could search a question that you have, and we don't want that. We want to protect your privacy, at least within the group. So that's why we're not going to open that up. And it is, let's see if there's anything else I have here. Man, that was perfect. And we have the world famous and best looking doctor I have ever seen in my life. On the internet here, it's, oh gosh.
Here I am. Here I am. Germ-ridden, over 65, multiple chronic medical conditions. That's me.
Wait, you're negative.
I'm negative.
Yeah, I got a question from the press. Did you get your temperature taken before you came out, sir?
Look at him.
Uh-huh. So, yep.
Yep, I'm okay.
Oh, a quick note for people. Right now, go to Walmart or whatever drugstore you want to, but everyone in your family, they need their own thermometer or a touchless thermometer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That would be the best thing. We got a warehouse full of these things.
However,
everybody in the family has one.
Yes, but I will say that you can clean this 30 seconds saturated in alcohol. Mm-hmm. 30 seconds, not a quick wipe. 30 seconds. And if you have wipes, you need to keep the wipes in contact with the thermometer for 30 seconds in order to be sure that it's clean. So if you have limited supplies, we want to let you know that, you don't only have to use this one for one person, but it's contaminated between.
It's best to do it.
30
They're not
seconds.
expensive. They're not expensive. You should get one for every member of the family if you can afford it.
So I do want to introduce you guys. For those that don't know, everyone in the world probably knows who Dr. Joe and Nurse Amy. Dr. Joe is a medical MD and not Dr. Amy. Nurse Amy is a ARNP, which she's about to tell us what that means.
Advanced registered nurse practitioner.
Yes.
And actually, Florida changed my initials, but I refuse to use them. They actually call me an apron now.
An apron. Oh, nice.
APRN.
Nice.
They change it around.
Apron.
They changed it, but they call it. It's sort of insulting because apron. Pretty bad.
So they're known.
Anyway.
They're known in the preparedness community. I don't know how you got the name, but Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy. That's just how we know them. But it is his real name is Joe and her name's Amy. They're real people. They've written 2 books, which I have both of them right here. And they're on the screen as well. They do a thing called Doom and Bloom. That's what we're all about. We're about, taking bad situations and having enough knowledge to make them good. How did you come up with the Doom and Bloom?
Well, basically, we figured out that doom was the kind of issues that could occur, disasters could occur in the life of any citizen, and bloom is just the resilience that humans have in the face of adversity. So we're not doom and gloom, we're doom and bloom.
Awesome. I just had to get up and turn my heater down a little bit, and you didn't even see it. That's awesome. Okay.
Great.
So with that said, and they have a website, they have product, they've been busy. People have been buying a lot of stuff. They have they're in the preparedness industry. They're top dogs when it comes to, or should I say cats? I don't know. Top dogs when it comes to, yeah. When it comes to the medical side, and we rely on them a lot because they tell us things that other people don't tell us, and so we appreciate that.
There are just not a lot of doctors and nurses that really think in that mindset where some disaster may have occurred, and the average citizen might wind up being the end of the line when it comes to their family's well-being. And so we think in that mindset. Everything we write about is in that mindset and in plain English, so that the average citizen, if that person had to be the family medic in times of trouble, we can make them effective in that role. That is our mission.
Awesome. So with that said, you can take as long as you want, but
let me start by, I just want to make a little statement as to where we are now. Now, I don't know how much you may have gone over this already for us, so please forgive me if I'm saying anything twice here. But I really want to just start off by giving my opinion on where we are and why we're going through all these hoops in the United States with regards to this particular thing. At the present time, the COVID-19 pandemic, by the way, COVID-19 is not the name of the virus. The name of the virus is actually SARS hyphen COVID or coronavirus, CoV-2. So it looks so much like SARS from 2003 that they decided to call it SARS-CoV-2. But the disease itself is called COVID-19. So it has infected, and this is up to almost 170,000 people in 157 countries, 6,500 deaths. People have died just since you mentioned the death count just recently. And out of that 170,000, about half of them are considered to be recovered from the illness, and half are considered to be still active cases. Of the active cases, probably about 93% are considered to be in mild condition, thought to be relatively mild, but 7% are in serious or critical condition. That is a pretty big percentage for this kind of respiratory illness. That is, they need some kind of respiratory support. If you're going to be in critical or serious condition, that means that you need some specialized help. So this is a number that has the potential to break a medical system. In Italy, the number of people needing intensive care beds has overwhelmed the local facilities already. In the north of Italy, there's so many people that need ventilators, need respiratory support, that they've transferred some to Sicily, all the way in the other end of the country, even lower than the toe of the boot, to find an available ventilator. And that's how bad it is in Italy. And it's probably worse in places like Iran. We just don't know. And certainly worse in North Korea, which we haven't heard a thing about. It's important to know still that influenza is much more common than COVID-19. There are close to 100,000 seasonal flu deaths this year so far, while there are indeed, as I mentioned, about 6,500 COVID-19 deaths. I will say, though, if 7% of the cases required some kind of respiratory support, however, even if it was the flu, well, even the United States would be overwhelmed. Now, in the United States, there's about 3,600 cases of U.S. citizens that have wound up gotten sick, about 68 deaths, and there are more than 700 diagnosed in just the last 24 hours.
Mhm.
So we have a strong medical infrastructure, probably have a good 100,000 or more intensive care unit beds. And that seems like a lot. I'm sure you think that would seem like a lot, and it can certainly handle, well, it really can handle a lot of all of the things that could possibly handle. So that's why we have to talk about what's going on with the hospital beds and things like that we're going to wind up needing in this country. In this country, we have probably about 100,000 or more intensive care unit beds. And that may seem like a lot to you, and it certainly can handle our needs right now as we are at the point we are in this particular outbreak. But of those 100,000 beds, right now, 80% of them have a person in it. Somebody with a heart attack, somebody who underwent major surgeries, somebody who was in a train wreck, all sorts of things. And so because only 20% of those beds are available, it may not take that much of an outbreak to actually stretch our infrastructure to the limit. So essentially, basically, we have people that can't breathe on their own, and maybe we might wind up having to send at one point or another somebody in Miami to Idaho, who knows, to find an available ventilator. But the likelihood is not the case. That's not going to be the case. It's because of all the things that a lot of people think are crazy that we've taken, actions that the government has taken to try to, as my good friend Charlie Hogwood said last week, flatten the curve.
Right.
So if we talk about a bell curve in terms of the number of cases of COVID-19 that occur over time. Oh, there you go.
I'm ahead of you there. I'm with you.
When I'm turning this way, I'm looking at you, Forrest. Well, what Forrest just put up is something very important. It's called flattening the curve. And so to flatten the curve means that we want to have some protective measures so that all of these cases don't hit us at once. If they hit us at once, they almost certainly will overwhelm our medical system completely, and then you'll have to start making decisions about who gets the ventilator and who doesn't get the ventilator. That's bad. And so what we're doing is all of these things that are going to make the outbreak actually last longer, but will flatten the curve, will make less cases at its peak so that it stays within, hopefully, the ability of our hospitals to deal with them. So we are in the initial ascending stages of this particular outbreak. And that bell curve that you saw, we're here. And we're going to go here and then eventually go down. I want you guys out there, make sure you know that I'm telling you right now, expect the number of cases to continue to rise. And then once testing becomes more available, we are going to experience a very surprising jump. Boop. It's going to go from here to here in probably just a day or two. And whenever they get these huge quantities of tests available for COVID-19 out there, well, you're going to see lots and lots of cases of COVID-19 being reported. So that's the thing. We're going to be seeing a lot of medical workers being tested. We're going to be seeing a lot of elderly folks that have symptoms, 65-year-olds, who have a temperature. And by the way, the temperature doesn't have to be 100.4, which is the standard definition of a fever that they teach you in medical school. It's actually older folks get a fever at lower temperatures. They're considered to have a significant temperature at 99.6. So anybody that's 99.6, over 65, has some respiratory symptoms, that person is going to be tested. And of course, other people that are obviously suspicious for having COVID. Now, many of them will not have COVID. And in some countries, not more than 90% of the people tested and 95% of the people tested turned out to have something else, the flu or cold, things like that. But that's the thing. So let me repeat, there's going to be a jump in cases every day, and it's going to be one big jump or over the course of a couple of days as tests become commonplace, easy to get to, and those tests start coming back.
Yep.
I want to make a prediction. I predict that because our government is relatively transparent, at least when it comes to medical issues, and because we have the ability to adapt and produce tests in large quantities, by late next week, we're going to be having probably a couple of million tests available. Well, that the United States is going to likely have COVID-19 numbers maybe greater than almost any other country in the world. And that's not because we're not doing our best to test and treat patients, but because we are. Because we are in a country with a weak medical infrastructure like Italy has. We're not an authoritarian government, at least in my opinion, like Iran or China or North Korea. And so therefore, we're going to hear reports of more patients. We're going to hear reports of sicker patients, and we're going to hear reports, honest reports of people that die of COVID-19, as well as we're hearing about all of the missteps, all of the learning curves that invariably accompany any system that is confronted with a new, emerging, very contagious infectious disease. So that's really what I wanted to say. I think that this is something that's important for people to know. Expect cases to rise. Expect a jump in cases whenever tests become more available. And there will be a curve. There will be a bell curve, just like Forrest showed you. And our goal is to flatten that curve so we always stay within our hospital's capacity of being able to take care of people that simply need help breathing.
All right. So I've been watching. I'm kind of doing your job for us also.
Okay.
I've been watching the comments. So I just want to I have a couple questions here from people who are there. First of all, what are the vectors? Is just breathing, because obviously some people don't have a cough, don't have symptoms at all. If they're just breathing, or is it just coughing and phlegm so that you're actually projecting droplets?
Well, it depends what you mean. The word vector is Latin for one who carries. So when we talk about a vector, we're usually talking about an animal or or an insect that is transmitting the disease. If I have a mosquito bite me that carries malaria, I'm going to get malaria. That's a vector. But what we're talking about is actually the ways that this actually spreads, and this spreads most often by inhalation. You inhale respiratory droplets that could be microscopic, or they could be larger droplets if somebody actually sneezes or coughs on you.
Plus, there are some people who just actually speak with a lot of saliva coming out with their breath. They just kind of talk, and you see. I mean, some people talk like that.
Yes, they do indeed. And so those are people
like Sylvester
on Looney Tunes. Probably should stand to the side.
Like Sylvester on Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
So it comes up because obviously there are people who are not coughing, who don't even know they have this, who are infecting people.
Right. So
somehow, and also I'm sure you were about to get to this. A lot of it is probably touch.
That's also that is called by absorption. So it's by inhalation, respiratory droplets, and it's also by absorption. So let's say you did cough on me, but you coughed on my shirt, and that shirt is wet from the cough, and I go like this. Oh my God! And I say, I can't believe you did that. Well, guess what? Then what you've done is you've transferred by absorption that it's not absorbed through your skin, but it is absorbed into your mucous membranes when you decided to touch your contaminated hand to your nose or to your mouth.
Or to your eyes.
Yep.
So those are the ways that you can pass this along to other people.
Okay, we got lots.
Now,
You go ahead, Amy.
I'm so sorry.
Let him.
No, you go, Amy. No. Let Amy
I know it.
Let Amy do it. She can translate the question. Go ahead.
And I think this is a big one on a lot of people's mind is, can you get reinfected?
Oh, yeah.
I think that has been a huge thing since day one. We've seen it move through China and sort of now calm down. And so I think the general feeling was, oh, well, those people are now immune. But I don't believe that's
There are two.
what's actually being studied.
Well, that's not the most common thing that occurs. Most people that get the infection do get it once, but there are a number of cases that indeed have gotten sick, have gotten better, and then have gotten sick again and actually have turned up positive again. Now, I think these were mostly in China, at least so far, and these are either thought to have been re-exposed, which means that you don't get a lot of immunity, or at least a long-term immunity, as a result of being exposed to the virus SARS-CoV-2
The first time.
the first time. And so that's one possibility.
Right.
Okay. Another possibility is that if that person comes back really being sick the second time around, it could be either that they really never got better, number one, or there is a new thing that they think might be going on in some cases that really has only been seen in one other disease. And that disease is dengue fever. In dengue fever, there's something called antibody dependent enhancement. And that means that the antibodies that you have somehow misfire in some way that actually make it easier for a virus to enter your system the second time around. With dengue fever, if you get dengue fever and you recover, you have antibodies. But in some people that have antibodies against dengue fever, those antibodies actually facilitate the entrance of the virus the second time around that you get it exposed faster into the cell and increases the infectivity of the virus. There are 4 different strains of dengue fever, and if so, you're immune to that strain that you had. But if you get hit with the second strain, with any of the other 3 strains, you wind up getting a very severe version of it that's almost like a hemorrhagic fever. It almost resembles end-stage Ebola. So it's very dangerous the second time around. I don't know if all of the secondary what they might be reinfected cases of COVID-19 ended in the death of the person involved, but I do know that there are people that they do believe have been reinfected.
Right, because what they're seeing is that the person is, not terribly sick. They're sick, and they seem to get better.
And then they get worse.
And then suddenly, and I remember one specific case they were talking about, oh, she's getting better. She's getting better. And then the next day I hear overnight she took a turn for the worse and died. And I was like, wait a second, you were telling us that this person was getting better. So I think there's been a lot of confusion. Now, also, there's now discussion that there are 2 strains of this.
That's right.
Can you speak to that?
There are indeed 2 strains of SARS-CoV-2, and we have to realize that the coronavirus family is an RNA virus. An RNA virus means that it doesn't have DNA. It starts off just with RNA. And what happens is RNA viruses mutate much more often because they're not as good as RNA is not as good as DNA in terms of making an exact copy of itself. Right. Because it's not making an exact copy of itself, there are errors that occur. And so basically what happens is that those errors, those are the mutations. Now, most of the time, the errors don't do anything. Sometimes they may actually make the virus less, it might be randomly weakening the virus. But of course, these things want to adapt. They want to become better viruses. And so in some cases, those mutations that occur in these RNA viruses make it maybe reproduce faster, maybe more effective, maybe actually, sometimes it makes it more contagious, but less deadly because they don't want to necessarily kill their host because they want to be continuing to infect its cells.
Okay,
so
Dr. Bones.
There are a lot of things that can occur.
Dr. Bones, I love you, but we got to have a lot of questions.
Okay. All right.
So the next question is this.
Make them succinct.
What is the most effective low-tech home treatment in the worst case scenario?
Well, basically what you would need to do is simply, the good thing is that in most cases, what you would have to do is just simply treat the symptoms. Most people will have mild cases, and so those folks will just need something for fever, acetaminophen or ibuprofen. They'll need Mucinex to
I have the ibuprofen,
thin out any phlegm,
and the vitamin behind you.
Right, and vitamins would be certainly not bad, although they're not proven to do really. We don't know if they do much for coronavirus as of yet.
Gatorade, chicken soup.
Hydration is very important, and a cough suppressant only if you're not able to sleep. In general,
Tamiflu.
Right, there you go. Right, like so very much like the flu.
And to monitor your respiratory and your lung capacity,
you can.
If you guys can get a pulse oximeter, these are pretty cheap on Amazon. I think that's probably one of the ones. I do have them for sale. I'm not pitching mine. I do know mine, and I asked them why mine were so expensive because I specifically said I can get these cheaper on Amazon, and they said because ours are FDA approved. Yeah, so wherever you buy them, from CVS, from Walgreens, they're definitely going to be FDA approved. If you get them off places like Amazon or eBay, I can't guarantee it, but anything is better than nothing at this point. And monitoring the O2 saturation is telling you the status of the lungs. Is the person having too much junk in there? I'm not going to be technical. Too much junk in there to exchange oxygen. And you can tell this with a pulse oximeter. You measure that person. If their O2 sat starts going down, they need to get to the hospital. They may not be able to communicate this to you well, depending on how old they are, what's going on with them. If they're dehydrated, they might not be able to tell you, a little confused. But anyway, pulse oximeters are great. Of course, we already discussed thermometers and ways to clean the room.
How about Tamiflu? Does that work with that?
Tamiflu does not, as far as they know, does not do anything against the coronavirus. It works against influenza type viruses. There was one study I heard where they mixed Tamiflu with HIV drugs, and the Tamiflu was like 5 times the dose that you would ordinarily take for the flu. And somebody in Thailand, a doctor in Thailand, claimed that it cured somebody, but nobody's been able to reproduce that as far as we know. Okay,
a question about travel. We personally have canceled an overseas trip that was supposed to start on April 7th. I haven't made the terrible phone calls yet, but I know they're probably going to reject most of our refund, but we're not going. So someone had asked, should they travel to Hawaii? I'm saying stay where you are. Absolutely. Unless you have to walk out of your house because of some mandatory situation, I say we all hang out at home. If you're stored and you're prepared, you don't need to go to the grocery store because you have everything. Don't go just out of curiosity. There's no reason for us to, even if you're not sick, you could bring it home to somebody else. So let's try to just social distance ourselves from others.
Oh, okay.
Not you and me.
Oh, okay.
We've been
okay. Hey, I do have something funny. So my wife, we were driving the other night, and my wife goes, I'm not going to die from the virus. I'm going to die from you driving me crazy.
Right. It'll be interesting to see the divorce rate.
Yeah, Joe and I talked about that earlier. People who just weren't getting along to begin with, who've been like living kind of separate lives and only have to deal with each other a couple hours in the evening. There might be some divorce rates going up after this is over. I have a feeling.
So the bottom line is
not us though.
That's right. Very, very simply, don't travel out of your area unless you really have to, and only really whenever you walk out the door, just say, is this trip necessary?
Right. And we just have to ask ourselves the question, is it worth walking outside? Now, another question that people have had is, when do I begin wearing masks?
You would begin
outside.
When you have a community outbreak is when you should be wearing masks on a regular basis. I mean, I'm talking about on a regular basis. Now, the people that I would recommend even more strongly, of course, are folks that are older folk. Of course, anybody that's sick should be wearing a mask, but they can wear just a regular old surgical mask. I don't know where I have it. If you're going to be a caregiver, you should be using an N95 mask. The N95 mask should have, okay, well, this is your typical surgical mask.
Procedure mask, it's also called.
If you're sick, this is what you should be wearing, because what we don't want is your droplets getting on other people. And so that's the story with regards to that. Now, if you're going to be a caretaker,
mask back, please.
yes, ma'am. If you're going to be a caretaker, then you're going to want to have an N95 mask that will say N95, and which should say also the word NIOSH. I think I may have shown.
Oh yeah, that's good. That actually focused.
Okay, so it should say the word NIOSH if it is certified by the FDA or approved by the FDA.
There's
as
another
a
one
mask.
that says it.
So
this one says it too.
When you put on your mask, you hold it in place. I just want to show this really quickly in case people have not seen some of our other videos. Okay, and the first thing you do is you put it over the crown of your head. The second thing you do is you put it over just under your ear. Then you're going to unfold it, and with both hands, you're going to apply pressure so that you're molding it to your face. And by the way, you notice that I have a goatee, but there's not any place on my face that the goatee shows through. And so there are going to be certain types of beards that are okay, and certain types of beards that are not okay. But it's very simple. Stubble, not good, because that will leave little tiny openings for things to go through, and anything that where the hair actually shows when a mask is on is bad news. When you take off a mask.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. All right. Everybody see? If you got your mutton chops, that's probably
there we go.
No good. So when you take it off as far away by holding it as far away, the strap as far away as you can from the mask. And you're going to, when you take it off, you really want to do your best not to touch the front of the mask, which is going to be contaminated. And then you drop it in
to a garbage,
some kind of waste receptacle.
Maybe biohazard bags.
Right.
Not a bad idea to have a few of those.
Maybe have that.
Those are pretty cheap.
Can you reuse the mask? We'll just go ahead and cover that.
Now, this is the thing. Now, there are circumstances, even the CDC understands that there are circumstances where there'll be a shortage of masks. What, am I not pretty anymore?
No, your mask pulled your hair forward.
Okay.
It made you look crazy.
Makeup. We need makeup.
Okay. So anyhow, basically, most of the time, these masks are disposable. There are reusable type masks if you can make the investment. They are more expensive. If you want to make the investment, though, it's a good idea to have that. If you have just regular disposable masks, the CDC says to throw them away in a covered waste receptacle whenever you can in one of those bags. But they realize and recognize that there are circumstances where there's a significant shortage. In case of a significant shortage, they do allow for extended use and for limited reuse of a mask. And they basically just say that the mask must be used by only one person. You can't give it to a bunch of different people to use. And it has to be used only for people that have the same kind of infectious disease, right? So that makes sense. But you can do that. We also talked about a study by Chinese doctors in which they tried various different ways, spraying with alcohol, and then putting in an autoclave and stuff like that. Nothing worked except for oven dry heat at 160 degrees. Put the mask in a 160 degree dry oven for 30 minutes and then take it out. And that may work. Now that I have no hard scientific evidence proving it or disproving it.
Okay. Hand washing with soap and water better than hand sanitizer?
Hand washing with soap and water is what you should do in any circumstance in which your hand is visibly dirty. And if your hand is not visibly dirty, it's a good idea to wash with soap and water, but you can use
20 seconds, happy birthday twice, or any song you want. Oh, okay. And by the way, also get between your fingers. We're not talking about doing this in the sink. Okay. You got to scrub and rub every part of your hand, just like you did before you were in surgery.
That means not using one drop of this stuff, but using a big glop of it and really getting wet all the way down to your wrist.
Between your fingers. Your hands need to be soaking wet. Just pretend you had a vat of hand sanitizer and you dipped your hands in and took them out. That's how wet they should be. Not just a little bit. I know we're all trying to conserve because there's limited amounts. I think I saw some comments earlier before we got on of people talking about how to make hand sanitizer. Those recipes can be found online. If you can find the aloe gel, if you can find alcohol, it's nearly impossible. Our shelves are empty of alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol is now a shortage down here in South Florida. Yep, but if you can find those, there's recipes.
Let's go over how to use this as well, because people don't read.
All right, well, here we go. We got some of your typical wipes. And what you got to do is you got to really read the back of these things. Yes. Mm-hmm. And when you read the back of these things, you're going to talk about something called a contact time. And the contact time is the amount of time that the surface that you clean must be visibly wet before it's thought that you have killed the organisms, the viruses. And so in this particular case, if you have Lysol dual action wipes, if you have Clorox disinfecting wipes, that time is 4 minutes. That means that your table, your countertop has to be visibly wet for 4 minutes after. If it's not visibly wet, you got to do it again. And if you use things like a chlorine solution, things like that, you have to use more solution, and you just got to get it nice and wet, and it cannot dry.
Also, take your own to the grocery store, right?
It is Ziploc, so it doesn't dry out. That's what I'm doing.
And it doesn't dry out, and you've got to do the handle, and it's got to be wet for 4 minutes. I told you guys the other day, I saw a gentleman who's probably 75 to 80. He takes one Clorox wipe, wipes the handle, wipes his hands, and then throws it in the trash can. And I'm like thinking in my head, you did nothing.
I'm seeing the same thing as I'm walking in now. I'm seeing more. Wait a second. I'm seeing more people using them. Interestingly enough, thank goodness, because I think our level of hygiene in this country has been lacking severely for a very long time. That's why I won't go in Subway anymore, because they're disgusting. But I have a trick, and it's not about the hand wipes. And it's funny because I saw a woman in front of me do this, and I thought, that's genius. Okay, so we have in our grocery stores umbrella covers, and they're plastic. So I think she just put it on the handle. Okay, but what I would do is I would use my wipes that I brought from home, and I would turn this thing inside out, because the inside has not been breathed on. It hasn't been coughed on. So I would turn that umbrella hand cover inside out and put that on the handle.
Are you crazy? Have you ever tried to get them bags in the produce department?
Yeah, but the umbrella bags are bigger. No, the umbrella bags are thicker.
Okay, so, okay.
Not a bad idea.
It's worth a shot.
You know what, guys? These are cheap. I mean, I think we can still find gloves. Any kind of gloves. I'm not even going to tell people they have to buy nitrile anymore, because, I don't even know if you can find those. But you can get a box of these and wear them there, and then throw them away before you get in your car, and use some hand sanitizer just to be sure. But, with just a barrier. And there was somebody who works at a retail pharmacy, which is great, because in a retail pharmacy, there's usually a big counter, and sometimes you're even elevated, and sometimes there's glass. In some of the pharmacies that we go to, they have almost like a pass-through window, like a bank. And so this person works in retail pharmacy, but I don't think they need to necessarily wear a mask, but the face shield, just, they can still speak and talk, but the face shield would be like the glass barrier, like they have at banks. But we do have some pharmacies. I believe it's Walgreens. A lot of Walgreens has the glass there. So, but they're far enough away from the counter that, they don't have to get too close. Then you've got the whole touching money and touching pills that they might have handed you the prescription to look at. I mean, you just have to do constant hand hygiene. Constant.
Okay, next question. Mary wants to know if you have COPD or asthma, should you go ahead and probably start self-quarantine and just stay out of the public?
Yes. Simple.
Just like we said before. Yes. Even if you don't have those, even if you're young, even if you're 25 years old. I've told my 2 daughters, one is in Brooklyn and the other one's in the heart of Chicago, high rises. She's on the 18th floor. Don't leave your apartment. I told them 6 weeks ago to get food. Don't leave. And they just shut down all of the bars and restaurants starting tonight in Chicago.
Right. Now that's our opinion. That's not the official, CDC state.
But we're always ahead of them.
Right. We are.
We're trying to keep you guys healthy and safe. That's all.
I want to just say to the lady who was asking the question is that it's not only you that needs to be careful and you need to be inside, preferably not within 6 feet of anybody else. But you may have relatives that come to visit you, and they bring the grandkids, and they bring your daughter, your son might come over. Now they probably have not been socially distancing themselves, and in those circumstances, they might pass COVID-19 onto you. So this is something you have to take into account, and it's a pain in the neck to understand that any kind of contact could cause you to have a problem if there's an outbreak in your area. If there's no outbreak in your area, and if the tests are available and nobody's testing positive, then obviously you're not in a situation where you absolutely have to hunker down. But if you're in a city where there have been cases, that's what I would do, and that's what the CDC says.
Next question. He's asking, at what stage should you go to the emergency room? 104, or should you just take ibuprofen for that, or at what stage should you go get help?
Well, this is the deal. What you should do if you feel symptoms is you should call your healthcare provider first, because what you should be seen, but they need to prepare for you. Prepare for your.
At what point, though?
You always need to call ahead. We either call the health department. The health department will call the hospital that you're planning to go. You have to call somebody. You cannot just show up at the hospital. That's putting the people in the waiting room. We have a guard at ours with a metal detector. I'm putting the guard at risk. I'm putting the people sitting there. There's no protection between me and the people who check me in. And I know this because we've been to the emergency room. Right. They're 2 feet ahead. Now I'm putting the nurses in jeopardy.
But should I go with the 99 fever, 101?
So let me just say this. Today they came out with standards. And first of all, they want all the healthcare workers to get tested. The testing is coming through. So wait, let me finish. Hold on 1 second.
Google's got their website you're supposed to go through.
Yes. Right. So it's being put through, and yes, that's great. We're going to have symptoms, and they're going to give us more of these details. The second tier of people who need to go get tested, and I'm not saying go to the hospital because you're dying, but if you're over 65 and older, you have a respiratory symptom. Okay, whatever you consider, you didn't have a cough before and now you've got one. You feel a little tight, congested, whatever. You're feeling something's not right. And that's instinct. And we have to pay attention to how our bodies are normally and what a change might be. And for people 65 and older, don't tend to get fevers. Now, I personally don't get fevers like hardly in my whole life. And I have seen some other people commenting that they're the same way. So don't necessarily judge your sickness by your fever, but that's what they're saying. These are the people they want tested: 65 and older, 99.6 or higher. So they're not telling you have to have 103 with a respiratory symptom. Okay. Those are the people that should get tested. Now, who goes to the hospital? If I'm feeling terribly sick, I'm going to the hospital. If I feel okay and I don't have a very high temperature and I feel like I'm breathing okay and I've done my pulse oximeter and it's 98 or 99, I'm probably going to stay home, but I'm going to stay in contact with somebody, my doctor, the health department. Somebody is going to know that I don't feel right. They're going to want me to get tested. And then while you're waiting, if you get sicker, you're going to say, listen, I don't feel right. So we all need to take personal responsibility. It's great to have Google telling us yes or no. But if you feel terrible, don't rely on the Google question that says, oh, well, you're fine, stay home. You feel bad, you get on the phone, you go somewhere, and on the way there, you put on one of these so you do not infect every single person that you see as you're walking in there. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect others. We have to stop this. I know people who are young, oh, I'm not going to get it and whatnot, but you might infect your neighbor. You're being a nice person. Oh, I'll go get groceries for you. And you bring them over and your groceries are infected with COVID-19. And now the poor 80-year-old dies. We as a human species need to watch out for everyone, because the 20-year-old now is going to be 80 years, God willing, and there might be another pandemic 60 years from now. So, karma might come back to bite these people. We all need to take care of each other as humans and protect each other. That's my spiel.
Okay. Do you have one? Let me see. I'm looking here. I'm a pharmacist. What can a pharmacist do to protect themselves? So if you're in a retail, I won't say the pharmacist is a retail, but they deal with people like coming to their window. And I think in North Carolina, they have to say, here's the medicine. Here's what it's for. Here's what you can't do. They have to kind of go over the rules. So they have to be in front of people, random people. Anyone that's working that type of a job, how can they protect themselves?
Well, we did talk about this. For us just a few minutes ago. We talked about the face shield and then being in the count. Thankfully having counters, and some of the pharmacies do have the window like a bank. Where they just pass things through, but the shield, a physical barrier.
And if there are cases of COVID in your area, I would wear a face mask and I would wear a face shield.
Again, community-wide outbreaks, you have to take further steps.
What about a cloth N95, which I don't know what that is? Is that what you have there?
You have cloth 95s that have been used in the past. You mean the reusable N95? Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know. It says, what did you say about a cloth N95? I don't know.
Well, in general, they're
N95s, N95.
They're different.
It's either N95, it's either disposable or it's not. I mean, these are disposables. They're N95s. So I don't know, those funky ones with like Disney World on them or something, I wouldn't trust them. The thing is, if they get wet, just like you were talking about with your clothes. I mean, if I'm wearing a mask and it's wet, if I've used this so much that I have breathed on this and it's wet, that's going to suck things in. It's not, the filtering mechanism isn't as good when it's wet. That's just the truth. You need to change your mask out if it gets too wet.
Okay, what about vitamin C? I see several people have asked about vitamin C. Do you take a surge of it when you get sick, or or should you take it now?
There's nothing that shows that vitamin C will actually work for coronavirus. It works. It's thought to decrease the amount of time you're sick with
in general,
in general with common colds and also possibly with the flu. But when I say it works, I mean it shortens your duration of the time that you're sick. It doesn't prevent it completely, and it doesn't get rid of it in 12 hours. It just shortens it. It shortens a little bit now.
And they know this because they've studied it.
And having said that, I happen to take vitamin C myself on a daily basis. I don't take more than 500 milligrams, and the reason why is because anything more than 500 milligrams you excrete in your kidneys.
Right. So water soluble.
So you will pee out anything beyond about 500 milligrams.
Okay, next question is, will spring and summer make this go away?
If we take the behavior of the flu, into account, and we assume that the coronavirus will act like the flu, well, then we can say for sure that this is going to be something that will go away in a relatively short time, and certainly with warm weather should go away. So that's the thing, is that we have a new emerging infectious disease. I think with
Okay, honey, I'm going to let you finish this because I've got a couple people saying I'm interrupting you. So.
Oh no, that's terrible.
No, that's all right.
All right.
I don't have any opinions apparently.
Oh boy. Well, I'm sorry, guys, but in any case, SARS is, if it acts like the previous coronavirus that was an epidemic like SARS, it should indeed actually have a seasonal aspect to it. And so with any luck, we should have the ability to expect some improvement. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be a bell curve and will be totally gone afterwards. It's very possible that this could be something that has a second wave, but let's hope that that's not going to be the case.
Okay, the next question goes with what just happened. Doc, do you realize you married up?
Well, I did. I'm a lucky guy, and I am very lucky to have Amy around, and I hope that she'll come back and bring
okay, next question.
Some of her magic and charm.
We'll get her back in. And I'm just going to pick this question. It does mention sun oven. Michael Klein says, can you put your mask in a sun oven and let the UV light and heat kill maybe virus particles? I don't know. I'm not saying that the sun oven's for this, but could it be used like that?
Well, it depends. Can you actually put it in a situation where both sides of the mask are affected by UV light in the sun oven?
Then we don't have a rotator in there, but I guess you could put it in there. And
if you don't have a rotator, then that would be the issue.
Yeah,
you need to have both sides of the mask that wind up being disinfected.
Okay, next question is, and I think we've covered this in the last show, what about a negative pressure room, real quick? In case someone gets sick, kind of building a sick room.
You mean not a negative pressure room, though? That's different. That's something different. There's nothing that hasn't been tested, as far as I know, with the coronavirus.
I mean, I'm talking about like the air conditioner and getting.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So basically, if your sick room is in your home and you have power and you have central air, then you need to duct tape or cover up the ducts in some fashion. And if you can do that, then virus that happens to be in the air in the room where the sick person is won't wind up going to the rest of the house. So that's the situation. That doesn't mean that the room shouldn't be well ventilated. The room should be well ventilated. The windows need to be open, and you need to figure out some way to sort of decrease the concentration of virus in there. And so good ventilation is important. Good lighting is important. You want to give the sick people the best chance to become healthy.
And so you're saying there's actually cases you don't want to actually go to the doctor and you just treat at home?
The CDC recognizes that in pandemic situations are circumstances where an overcrowded and understaffed hospital may not be the safest place to be. And so home care, indeed, for mild cases is considered very acceptable. And you are considered to be a medical worker in a sense, in that you are going to be taking care of whoever. If you are the family medic, you're going to be taking care of whoever gets sick in your household. You're going to need to isolate them from the people that are healthy. And the truth is, although the government does not want you to buy masks and things like that, they want the reason why is because they want masks for medical workers, but yet they acknowledge the possibility that you're going to need to be a medical worker. And so for that reason, I feel that anybody that's into preparedness should certainly have a supply of masks.
Okay, last mask question, I promise. Gentleman asked if you can put the mask in the microwave. I know there's the metal piece on there which could cause some problems, but would a microwave sterilize the mask?
it's not something that you should do because lots of times, as you say, there's a metal piece there. Definitely not something you want to do. There have not been studies to show that doing that is going to, number one, maintain the 95% effectiveness of the mask, and number two, not deform the mask. And so for those two reasons, I would say no. That I would rather you put it in the oven at 160 degrees for 30 minutes, and that's a way that at least was tested by somebody. I mean, it wasn't tested by somebody in the United States. It was tested in the International Medical Center in Beijing, but at least they tried several methods and found this to be the one that they felt was most likely to not deform the mask and also to maintain the 95% barrier of the N95.
Okay, there are a lot of people saying bring Nurse Amy back or they're going to protest.
Okay, I will take a 30-second break to bring Nurse Amy back.
Okay, yeah. So, okay. Oh, there's hey guys, if you have a question, type in question, colon, and then your question. So, and we'll try to get every single one of them if they've been asked before. And I may kind of like generalize the question because I see other people are asking the question as well. So should we chant Amy, Amy, Amy? So with
There
that, now we got Amy back
She's
in.
the brains of the outfit. I'm just saying what she would have say to you ordinarily if I wasn't here. And
Amy, the question when you left the room was, does Dr. Joe know he married up?
I did marry up.
Thank you.
Okay. I saw some questions about pool shock. Do you want to go there?
Pool shock is used as a way to make bleach. You would put a pint in 12 gallons of water to make bleach, not to disinfect water. And that makes bleach. And then you would use a few drops in each gallon of water in order to make your bleach. I have that formula, I believe, in one of my books, and possibly the antibiotic book, or might be, I may have put it in after the last edition of the Survival Medicine Handbook, but basically that's the formula. And
So
you'll find it also, by the way, somewhere on the website. I think if you just use the search engine on the website, you'll find the actual formula for it.
just know this is a package of pool shock. This can treat 100,000 gallons of water.
That's true.
So I could literally make enough bleach for almost everyone in Charlotte with
For our
this.
community, right? And definitely you want to have some solid form of disinfecting solution, the disinfecting granules, because I do have it. Okay.
No, I just know you were mentioning that, so I thought you might want to finish that list.
Okay. Let me just finish this part though. I want to just make sure that people know that you want to have some solid method of being able to store a disinfecting type solution, or some way to make a disinfecting type solution. Pool shock is the simplest way to do it. Some people say that it doesn't store well. I've had it for 10 years in my prep room, and it's never gone bad or never put out gases or anything like that.
Okay, next question. UV light. How long would it take UV light to kill the virus? If you have something and droplets of the virus, you put it out in the sun, would that kill it?
Over the course of about 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, it probably would. Just like you can disinfect water by putting it in a clear bottle and just putting it out in direct sunlight for a good clear bottle of water, about 90% full, for a good 8 hours. So if you have 8 hours of direct sunlight that you can count on, that would be probably a reasonable thing to do. Now, I don't have a link to a study that says that, with regards to coronavirus, but it seems to work for a lot of other things. Also, UV light, UV wands have been used to disinfect instruments. And I have an article about that. And this is something that was published in the Journal of Wilderness Medicine about 2 years ago. And they basically took, they made a soup out of 7 different bacterial solutions, really gunky stuff, stuck clamps in there and other kinds of instruments, then hung them up and passed UV wands around them for about 45 seconds on each side. And theoretically, it got rid of 100% of them in most of the cases that they tested. So you can definitely check that out on our website. We have that article. Just look up, I guess, Journal of Wilderness Medicine, and you'll probably find it.
And I promise you guys, every question that has been asked at this point, except maybe directed to the coronavirus itself, this one is you've already written about all these things.
I've written about it. And matter of fact, I want to announce that I'm 240 pages into a book on coronavirus, influenza, and other viral threats.
Sweet.
So there will be something coming out relatively soon with regards to the coronavirus.
Okay, next question.
I usually manage to cure things, as I put out a book on Ebola during the epidemic, and once the book came out, after about 3 or 4 days, you never heard about Ebola ever again. So I must have cured it. And then I did a preemptive strike on Zika virus, and I put a book out on that. And when was the last time you heard of Zika virus? And so I plan to cure the coronavirus by putting a book out on it. Several days after it's out, I guarantee you'll never hear about coronavirus again.
Next question is this. What are your thoughts on a post-exposure protocol kit, iodine-based, that the CDC uses?
Say, what's the type of kit again? I've seen it in several kits.
Exposure protocol kit.
Basically anything that would give you the best chance of disinfecting yourself would work. There are a lot of different things that have been used. Everything that they say that to use, by the way, is something that you should only use very irregularly if you have contaminated yourself, because all of that stuff is irritating to the skin. So yes, I think that's a reasonable kit. The problem is that, you need to, when you put on and take off your personal protection equipment, you need to have an observer. You need to, whenever I have demonstrated this, Amy has always been there to take a look and see if I've done something wrong, because many times you'll inadvertently contaminate yourself. You may not even know it. And so you always need to have an observer like Amy does with me whenever we put on or take off our gear. Right.
And so even again, in your book, you show people exactly how to do everything. I'm not saying go buy. This isn't the sales pitch, but the information's out there. The information.
Seriously, guys, don't buy any of our stuff. The only thing we want you to do is just get education, get it from somebody that you trust. And I'm blessed to have the trust of a lot of folks in the preparedness community.
Next question. Wait, no, that's not the question I was looking for. Someone asked, is it really different than the flu? And I don't know where that is.
Yes, it's different than the flu in this way, in that, as I mentioned in my opening statement, 7% of the people that currently are active that actively have this medicine, this infection, that they know are positive for this infection. 7% are in serious or critical condition in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
If 7%, given the numbers of people that get the flu, if 7% of those people were in the hospital, there wouldn't be anything but flu patients in the hospital.
Right.
And so that's the thing. And that's why it's so dangerous. And it's very dangerous for folks that are in the over 65 age group, folks that have weakened immune systems, folks with chronic medical problems, and And the problem with that is the older you get, the more likely you're going to die if you wind up getting it. If you're 80 years old, your chances of dying from this thing is 16%.
Oh, that
If you
brings me to a question.
If you get it. What now?
One of my questions right here. You remember we talked about this beforehand, because today, and then this is getting real. Today, I read France, 50% of the 300 ICU patients were under 60. Okay. So 50% were under 60. In the Netherlands, 50% of the ICU patients in the Netherlands were under 50.
Okay, you know what that tells me?
And you answered it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what that tells me is that they're running out of intensive care unit beds or ventilators, or let's put it this way, ventilators, things that could give respiratory support. When things like that happen, just like what I'll take as an example, transplant lists. There's a list for people that wind up needing kidneys, for example. People on dialysis, they need kidneys. These folks, if they are in their 60s, it's very unlikely they're going to wind up getting a kidney. If there's somebody that's 30 or 40 or 20s, that person is going to wind up getting the kidney. With regards to intensive care unit beds or ventilators, basically what's happening is there's just not enough people, not enough ventilators for the people that need it. And so the decisions that are made by letting the youngest people wind up getting the ventilators. The people that are 70 years old and need a ventilator won't get the ventilator. They'll give it to the younger person. And so that's what is happening with regards to France.
So they're making life and death decisions based on people's age and the likelihood they'll survive.
That's what they'll do, right? Basically, they're making that decision. And that's what happens in countries where there's socialized medicine, or countries where there's a very bad infrastructure for medical infrastructure. So it's just one of those things. If you are in my age group, then you're not going to be very high on the list for a ventilator. However, if you were in my son's age group, you would be.
Gotcha. Okay, question here is...
Or your age group, Forrest.
Yeah, I'm 32. We all know that. Mm-hmm. Does regular washing the laundry kill the virus?
Regular washing at 140 to 190 degrees to 190 degrees, very, very hot, will kill the virus if you can get it that hot.
So you're telling me just normal washing clothes will not kill the virus off your clothes? Just washing clothes in general is not guaranteed to.
Dang. But remember, this is a brand new virus, so we still have a lot to learn with regards to it. I read, and you're going to read all sorts of conflicting accounts. So the truth of the matter is that, that's what I have read. I haven't gotten a shirt with COVID on it and put it in the washing machine to find out. So, this is just what I've read.
Okay. So the next question is, can it enter in through your ears?
It is very unlikely to do that. Is it absolutely impossible for it to happen? I guess not. But we would have to do some pretty crazy stuff. Let's say you'd have to have somebody cough on you, and you would have to touch your shirt. Let's say that they coughed on you, and then you would have to stick your finger in your ear so deep that it goes down to the eardrum and somehow manages to go through the eardrum. It does not absorb through the skin. Okay. It absorbs through what we call mucous membranes. And mucous membranes are the oral cavity, the nasal cavity. It'll go, if you get it on the eyes, it'll go into the tear duct and then down into the nasal cavity. But the ear really isn't a mucous membrane.
So I read an article. I like how I can ask my questions on other people's questions. Drink lots of water because it flushes the virus down to your stomach and your stomach kills it. Is that true?
There's nothing that, well, the stomach acid can kill the virus. However, there has not been a study done that proves that. I've read it a number of places, and I haven't seen any study that shows that works. As a matter of fact, I heard from somebody in the CDC that is a myth, but it does make logical sense, doesn't it? But
so you're just sticking to the facts.
I'm sticking to the facts. I'm thinking about what's logical, and what you say. What you say about that is actually sounds perfectly logical, doesn't it? But the problem is that the virus may have already absorbed in your cheek, in your mucous membranes in your cheek.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
So that's the thing, yes.
Is that you don't know the exact moment that you were exposed. So you wouldn't know that, oh, this very second I was exposed. So quick, let me grab this water and drink it.
Right.
So I think that would be the bad thing, unless you were like constantly drinking, is that you wouldn't know the timing of your exposure.
Right.
And to say, oh, right this second, I just inhaled some viruses, or, they just got up my nose and they're traveling, and now let me drink the water. So I think that would be.
How do you best disinfect mail packages and grocery deliveries? And now, did y'all see Pizza Hut came out with a thing where they'll coordinate, you pay and leave the tip, and they'll leave the pizza, and then you come pick it up off the driveway, I guess. I don't know. But
the only thing, are they wearing gloves when they bring out the pizza?
Did they breathe on it? Are they sick?
Are they wearing a mask? Are they sick?
Or the guy making it, But how do you disinfect mail packages and groceries?
You would. The truth of the matter is that it's pretty difficult to do it without effect. With a cardboard.
We must have 30 packages by our front door. I mean,
let me say this. If I apologize for interrupting you, but if it's a letter, let's say it's a letter, right? Well, then what you could do is you could put that letter in an oven at 160 degrees for 30 minutes. And since that seemed to work for masks, it probably would work for a letter. The burning temperature of paper is 451 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I mean, it should be something that you can do. But I think that this is getting to be a little bit of overkill if you wind up doing that. I think probably if you are concerned, maybe open your mail with gloves on. It might be a more appropriate thing, because you're not taking the letter, unless it's a love letter has perfume on it, and sniffing it, right? So basically you have it there, and the way you would get it is by absorption, touching it, and then touching something on your face, and wind up getting it that way. So therefore, by putting gloves on and then disposing of the gloves afterwards, it probably would be the simplest way.
Will Lysol kill the coronavirus?
Lysol will actually kill the coronavirus, but you have to keep in mind the contact times. Now, interestingly enough, the contact times may be different for different viruses. And now, the contact times could be as high as short as 15 seconds. It could be as long as 10 minutes. The EPA does not allow something to be called a disinfectant if it takes more than 10 minutes to kill a virus or another thing. I have, let me see, do I have that? I'm looking here for a page that had disinfecting solutions. Nope, not that one. Statistical analysis. Oh my gosh. I had this that had every single cleaning product and how long. Oh, here you go. All right. So it's called EPA.gov/pesticide-list-N-disinfectants.
So if someone find that and post it in the comments so everybody can get that, they'll find it. They'll post it there.
And so what I'm looking at here It's called Pesticide Registration List N, as in Nancy, disinfectants for use against SARS-CoV-2. And this is very, very important information for you to have. And so it has the active ingredient, it has the product name, it has the company that makes it, and it has the virus that it's specifically acting against, the contact time, the time that the surface needs to remain wet, and what it's like. What is it? Is it a wipe? Is it a solution? What's the deal? So, so let's see. I'm trying to find something that people might recognize here. So let's see. Here's one. Sani cloth, germicidal, disposable cloth. I think I've seen that. It's a type of quaternary ammonium, which, by the way, is a pretty heavy-duty disinfectant. Is by Professional Disposables International Incorporated. Kills coronavirus in 3 minutes. It is a wipe. And it was added to the list March 3rd. And so I have 11 pages of this.
Okay.
So that's where so just go to that website and you'll actually see how long it actually takes.
Okay. Next question.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
As far as the cardboard boxes go, what I was going to say is that our UVC wand up there above his head is probably my favorite thing. I actually have set up all around the house in every room UV light air purifiers, and some of them have ozone. In fact, I have a UV light with ozone in one of our air handlers. The only reason it's not in the other two is because I recently had them replaced. And so I don't have those in there, but we have them, and I have them in every room. There's one right in the corner over here. So I highly believe in UV lights and the ozone. And if I had to touch a box and I didn't have gloves to open it up with, I could use that all around the box. But step one would be just a simple barrier. Open the box up, throw the gloves away once you've opened the box up, take the stuff from the inside out. Hopefully where it was packed is COVID free.
I think it's a great idea.
Then you can put gloves back on and then take that immediately out of your house. Put that outside somewhere. If you can't put the trash out yet, at least get it out of your house.
You know, that's interesting because
options.
Everyone was thinking. So I got a package, I don't know, 4 weeks ago from China. And I thought, how many days? 9 days, this is dead. The virus would be dead. So it's okay for me to open it because it didn't fly. It came by boat. But now we got to be concerned with people in Amazon warehouse that may have it. So it's not only now Japan sending stuff. It could be our own, Americans or the UPS driver or, the person, the sorting place. So that's interesting. So the next question is, Amy, this one's to you. You see it? I mean, is there a DIY mask that you could make if someone becomes sick? You
know what? Yeah, but it's not an N95. I mean, I could make layers, but there's a lot of videos. I did do a video on it if you guys want to watch it. It's just with a cotton sheet, and in my situation where we always try to think outside the box since 11 years ago when we said we need to prepare for a possible pandemic, which is exactly in 2009 why Joe and I became serious preppers. We were preppers before for hurricanes. That was it. This situation right now is what we have been thinking of and preparing, and why we've been writing articles and books and YouTube videos. This is happening. So we've been thinking about this. I know you guys listen to Joe and everything, but I am a nurse practitioner, and I've seriously thought about this for 11 years. It's not just come to us and said, oh, well, this is around, so let's do some research. This is serious for us.
What Amy says actually makes a lot of sense. I want you guys to think about this for a second. A lot of you that are out there believe that there may be a chance that there's a long-term event coming that may take society to the brink one day. If you do, no matter how much medicine you put together, no matter how many wipes you get, eventually, or how many masks you get, eventually you're going to expend all of these items. And so you have to learn how to improvise. And so we've done a lot of things on medical improvisation. We actually a magazine called Off Grid Recoil. If anybody has heard of it, actually just published an article of mine on medical improvisation. So you might find it. If you go on my Facebook page, I put a link to an area where you can access it.
Okay. I want to apologize. I'm trying to get every question, guys, but as sometimes my mouse moves off the chat, it automatically flies up in the software because I'm not looking actually on the actual YouTube. So I am trying to find, and then I have to go back and find my place. I'm trying to go down and get every question. And so make sure you put question. So all I have to do is look for question, then your question. That makes it much easier instead of me reading every one of these. Another person asked about the weather. Now here's my question, because I know you kind of covered it. And I personally, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist, but I did stay in Holiday Inn Express last week. So I'm not sure if that counts, but summer is going on right now in Australia, and summer's going on in Singapore, in Malaysia, and Japan, where all these hot spots are. And summertime doesn't seem to be stopping this.
The funny thing is that some countries seem to be better at controlling their outbreak than others. For example, Italy and South Korea and Iran wound up having their ascending phase of their outbreak at about the same time. Iran and Italy are still ascending, whereas if you look at the bell curve, here we have South Korea beginning to descend, and already, while the other guys are still having record numbers of cases on a daily basis. And so there's something that they're doing in South Korea that is making a difference there. It could be the climate, could be something else. South Korea is I think it's a cold country, isn't it? I know North Korea is pretty cold.
Oh, it's cold. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that it's cold country, and things have warmed up, and so maybe it's better. Now Italy is always warmer than a lot of other places in Europe, but is it warm enough yet? I don't know. So the thing is, I think everything is multifactorial. There's lots of different factors to go into how bad things are. South Korea probably has a pretty good medical infrastructure. Italy is one of the poorest countries in Europe. I doubt it does. Spain also is having problems. It's a poor country in Europe by European standards. And so from my end, I think there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. We have a very strong medical infrastructure. That's why I feel that we're going to, although we're going to have a lot of cases, I feel that we're going to get through this okay and in a reasonable period of time.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the bleach question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Right here on cdc.gov, because we've been questioning what percentage bleach you need to kill, because this seems to be a little harder than even Ebola was. It's a little more difficult. So they are right now on cdc.gov/coronavirus/2019. It discusses preparing, cleaning, and disinfection. Right here, 5 tablespoons or a third cup of bleach per gallon of water. So a third cup of bleach per gallon of water, or 4 teaspoons of bleach per quart of water. So that's your bleach.
Okay, awesome. Next question. People are on this clothes. One lady asked, or Robert asked, hey, where do I get my COVID-19 Maytag laundry wash machine? And then another person asked, how do you treat clothes then if they get the virus on there? You don't squirt bleach on them. Lay them out in the sun maybe for a day?
Well, I mean, basically they want you to wash them in hot water, and I just don't know how hot the water gets.
It's probably, I don't know. Every house is different. I have mine in a low setting so it doesn't burn me.
Someone asked if I was in the chat room. No, I don't have access to the chat room. Apparently you have to log in somehow.
But you can see it.
I'm not in the chat room. I've seen it, but I can't comment or write anything.
Okay.
Hands up.
Okay. I'm sorry. I got another question. So I can take soap and water and wash it off my hands. Can I take soap but I can't take soap and water and wash it off clothes?
Between you and I.
But wait, there's two things. There's two parts to that question. One is, am I killing something? And one is, am I agitating it off? So when you're running water on your hands with soap and water, you have water rushing through, and that's going away. When you're washing your clothes, that water is agitating. I do know you've got a rinse cycle, but if the virus wasn't killed in the wash cycle and it's still there in the rinse cycle, we just don't know. There's no study. And by the way, hot water makes bleach ineffective. So it's not like you can do hot water and bleach.
Okay.
That's not going to work for you. So the hot water with the laundry soap is what's recommended. Again, this is a great resource. I know we find resources all over, but the cdc.gov, despite people not trusting them, are really, really trying to put out as much information as they can to give us these answers, to help us, look for a good, solid place to get answers.
Right. And the truth, I just want to say very quickly that even stuff that we tell you, based on how much we learn about the coronavirus in the near future, we may change what we feel about the coronavirus too. We may find out that X works to kill the coronavirus. Well, why didn't?
This is for entertainment purposes only, right?
There you go.
So I got a cut on my hand. Can I get coronavirus if it hits the cut?
You would think that you basically would think so, because you don't
membranes.
because it goes through mucous membranes, but it can go through an open sore.
Okay. Do you know what a CPAP? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what does I was going to do the CPAP, but then I figured it out. A substitute for that for home care. Is there a substitute?
Substitute for
CPAP.
For CPAP. I really don't know too much about CPAPs or how it would really.
Why would you need a replacement? We're probably not going to lose our electricity.
I don't know. Well,
I think they're still going to keep our grid up at least for a while.
Okay. Do you recommend any herbal medicines to boost your immune system?
Well, there are lists out there. We've talked a lot, and we have this in our book too. Garlic, turmeric, ginger. There's lots of tinctures that you can use. Just putting these things in your food. There's mushrooms are known to, I think, modulate the immune system and keep it from overreacting, which could possibly be a problem with some of these deaths from COVID-19, is actually an overreaction of your immune system.
Your own immune system could actually kill you with COVID-19. Right.
So we do look for things that boost our immune system. And there's lots of things. I read watercress. We try to add all kinds of different fruits and vegetables into our diet, and just anything that keeps you healthy, keeps your vitamins A, B, C, D. Those are all very, very important. Watch out for the ones that are fat soluble, because those can build up. So you don't want to take too much A, because you don't get rid of that. But like Joe was talking about, vitamin C, we do wash out. So it's kind of hard to overdose on it. But, if it's too much and it's flushing out, it's not helping you anyway. But we try to add these things to our diet just to keep it up. But there is a lot of herbs out there, folks. We've got a plethora of natural foods and natural herbs and spices out there that we can add to our food and really help us get healthy.
Having said that, you have to realize that it's too early yet for anybody to have tested herbs and COVID-19. Now, they have tested zinc, for example,
Right.
and in combination with an anti-malarial medicine called chloroquine that's been around for a very long time. And I think that that's some of the stuff that they've been using in South Korea. And it's possible maybe that is a factor in why they're not having quite as serious an outbreak as they're having in Italy and Iran and some of the other countries. So I don't know yet. And having looked up everything about it, I've found a few people that say it doesn't do a thing.
Right.
Other people say that it's the reason why there are a lot less deaths in South Korea than there are in Italy.
I posted an article on that on the PrepperNet Facebook page. Next question is, this person, Mary, travels a lot. Should she bring her own bedding and linens for a hotel? She has to go to a hotel.
Gee, that would be Mary. If you're the same person that was there before, that asked that before, or asked a question about travel before, I'm telling you, you should not be traveling. Is it the same, Mary?
Yeah, I think so. I'll say this, and if you hate me or not, tomorrow, if you're traveling, it's time to call in sick to your work. They should not be sending you anywhere at this point. And the government, I think this week, some of the statements that the president has made, you could literally go to work and say, I'm not traveling, but based on what the CDC and the president said. And I think you would be fine, because
well within your rights.
I agree 100%. Like I told people last week, the day that they were making the national emergency, I told people, hey, if you're watching this and you're in your office, you need to pack your bags up right now and leave. Now, that's because I was encouraging them to go get food before, the entire population, which what happened this weekend. But anyway, there's decisions that you have to make now that for you and your family. And I guarantee you, if you get fired for something like that, that would be a good thing for you long term.
Yeah. Mary, I just want to say that if a maid coughed into her with COVID-19, coughed into her hand while making your bed, that bedding could actually harbor the virus for a number of days.
Dang, that's crazy. That is just crazy. Hey guys, I may be missing your question. I see one guy that says he's not asking my question. I haven't seen your question, but I've seen you make that statement like 5 times. So I apologize. He's not asking my question. I haven't seen the question. You need to put, and it's just the way the scroll is. Put your questions more than one time instead of saying he's not asking my question. Just saying. So let's see here.
Forrest, I just want to say something about people talking about probiotics.
Okay.
I'm actually writing the immunity section for the book that we're writing. And I firmly believe that most of our immune system is controlled by the bacteria that lives in our intestines. And so anything you can do to have healthier bacteria in your body will help your immune system. So things like I saw kimchi mentioned, absolutely, sauerkraut, things that we ferment at home can work, and you can ferment all kinds of amazing vegetables at home easily with mason jars and a little bit of knowledge. So look into how to ferment foods. We don't have to go to the grocery store to ferment foods. It could just be something that you have already. I learned at one of our shows, I took a little course, and we had cabbage, and all we did was chop up this red and green cabbage, and we had a mason jar, and we just squished it in there with a little bit of salt. Very simple. And we just kept it under the water, and every day you would just kind of push it down, and you'd have to loosen up the top a little bit because the fermentation is going to make the top explode. But it was so easy, and it was delicious. So simple things can help our bodies give us probiotics. You don't necessarily have to eat 14 gallons of yogurt every day, and do a variety of things, because you don't want one of these bacteria to take over. There's a balance in there. They don't know what the perfect balance is yet. They're testing it because they're starting to see that our immune system is controlled by the bacteria. And by the way, we have more bacteria in our bodies than we have human cells in our bodies. And that's something to think about. We need to feed them good food so they take care of us. We have a symbiotic relationship. You guys know what that means. They're helping us. We're feeding them. It's working together. So keep your bacteria well fed, and hopefully, your immune system at tip-top shape. And if the virus floats by you and gets into you, your body says, nope, not today. That's what we can hope for.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question, and I know you guys don't want this question. And I'll tell you, I trust antibiotics because they work. A lot of people are asking about essential oils, and a lot of people swear on their life they work. I don't know if they do or not, but one thing I do know, if you do essential oils, I can smell you from like 15 feet away.
Yeah. I have those in my family bag, and I also actually sell little kits of like 7. I just wanted people to get to know herbal medicine, and so I have 7 oils. One of them's olive oil because you need to mix it. But it's fun when I put those together because like the whole house smells.
We know you're coming, and keep your little network marketing card with you. But does Thieves? I know the story. These guys, they went and robbed all these people, and they never got sick.
Right.
Thieves oil.
They had it right on their cones in their face.
Trust your life to it.
Well, the bottom line is that a lot of people believe in the use of essential oils. There's, if you go to the University of Maryland, they do have a center that studies these things. A number of them are known to have some anti-inflammatory effects, and other ones have other types of effects. Clove oil, for example, is an excellent dental anesthetic. So there are essential oils that have significant benefits. But if you're asking me about what essential oil will work against COVID-19, nobody really knows that, because we have not even naturopaths have had time to actually experiment with it to see if it has any benefit or not.
Okay.
So I have to be honest with you with regards to that. And if you look at my books, the Survival Medicine Handbook, whenever there's a natural remedy that has been recommended for a particular medical issue, in that chapter, I talk about the conventional way of dealing with it, the way to do it using limited equipment in austere settings, and the herbal ways that you might be able to gain some benefit from.
Okay, a follow-up with the washing machine. Will the dryer gets hot enough to kill the virus?
Well, if it gets hot enough to kill the virus, it probably would work.
All that, right. The only recommendation that we've seen was the water temperature for the laundry. Right. And they didn't tell us the dryer temperature. All they said was let them dry thoroughly.
Right.
That was the second part of it. So they didn't say, and put your dryer at X temperature.
Right.
It would be nice to see. I hope they do study it. I hope they say, well, people can't raise their temperature of their water so high because they have little children. If you run the bath water, you'll burn them. Now, Joe and I don't have any children left in the house. So I can make my water temperature as high as I want. And I do. Because I know that as an adult, I'm careful, but you can't do that when you have kids. It is too dangerous. So a lot of people aren't going to be able to heat their water up that high. And so I would like to see, what the temperature is in the dryer. I know my clothes get super hot, but I'd like to see the stuff that says.
These are one of the things,
35 max, and it won't kill the virus.
One of the things that I guarantee that we'll know more about is something like that in a couple of months, because I know if somebody has figured out the temperature of the water in the washing machine, they're going to figure out what putting it in a dryer.
We're going to get this
COVID-19.
information.
This information will be out one day.
Okay.
It hasn't been put together yet.
It seems like everybody's worried about this clothes. Could ozone be used to sanitize clothes?
I don't know.
I don't know.
And
Okay.
And you
I don't
won't
know.
find, and you
haven't
won't
seen
find,
any information about that either.
and you won't find a study on
And
that.
I've had
either.
that, and I personally have had that question too.
I heard
You're talking
you.
about, listen, you're talking about a virus,
It's been around how
you
long?
know, that's been around. Say, I wrote first about it on January 7th. It's March. What is it? So like, it's been about 10 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks,
Yeah.
9-10 weeks. And
Yep.
and on January 7th, there were 60 cases of this weird pneumonia that was going around in mainland China with no deaths yet. And so that's how long that we've known that this thing really exists and is really causing problems with people. So it's hard to really be able to expect that a lot of these things have been actually tested against the virus as of yet. As I know more, certainly, I'll impart that knowledge as soon as I get it.
Okay.
Someone did ask, are there any antivirals that they know of that will kill this yet? And you kind of answered this before.
I can tell you that they're using a anti-HIV drug called remdesivir, and they believe that there may be some potential with regards to that. And so that's one of the things that they've been trying. I've also seen cocktails of different kinds of anti-HIV drugs that have been used together that they were also evaluating too. So they're evaluating the anti-malarial drug chloroquine. They're evaluating remdesivir and other anti-HIV drugs. And just that one, I only know of that one instance where they were actually working with Tamiflu.
And then the quinolone.
The chloroquine.
The chloroquine.
The anti-malarial drug.
Anti-malaria, which is still experimental. But, we're talking about antivirals not working. But also remember, for viruses, we know, and I think most of you folks listening, that antibiotics don't work. In the situation where you've had the flu or you've had a virus or you get this, it is possible because of your weakened immune system to then get what's called a secondary bacterial infection. Mm-hmm. So your soldiers are all fighting this war over here, and some other enemy comes in and says, oh, great, I can be here too, and they won't notice me. And then the bacteria takes over and you end up with a bacterial pneumonia. In that case, which they'll know because you're at the hospital at that point, they will know it's bacteria and they will give you antibiotics because antibiotics kill the bacteria, which is a secondary infection. It might not be why you came in there. And a lot of people go to a hospital with one thing and end up with something else also. Right.
The people that die from the flu usually don't die from the viral pneumonia that occurs from the flu. They die from a secondary opportunistic bacterial infection that occurs. And it becomes very resistant to a lot of antibiotics.
So someone asked about a Tyvek suit, which you guys did. We did a video of that like a week ago. People can go watch and look at that. But yes, a Tyvek suit will protect your clothes, correct? But you got to take it off exactly perfect.
That's right. And you should have an observer taking a look at exactly how you're putting it
papers.
On, right? And making
Are you doing it right?
And having an observer available. That's the important thing.
Nurse Amy, can you do a mason jar fermentation progress class, I guess?
That's funny. Yeah. If I can get to the grocery store without getting COVID-19 and grab myself some cabbage. I have things growing in my garden, but nothing that's going to work yet. Everything's little.
Looking for another question here. It's kind of weird how my thing just sometimes skips forward. So at what point would you guys stop going to restaurants?
We're not going now. When's the last time we went to a restaurant? I can't remember.
It's been a while.
We knew this was coming.
Yeah, we knew this.
We've gone to the grocery store, although he hasn't gone the past couple of times that I've gone because I don't want him to be exposed to all these people.
You have to remember that I'm in the highest risk age group. and I have
Just barely.
and I have chronic medical issues. I'm closer to 70 than to 60, and I've got, you know, type 2 diabetes, and I've got a history of high blood pressure, and I've got a bunch of things, and you know, I'm lucky I haven't keeled over yet.
Oh, stop!
In the middle of
You're
the
healthier
show,
than you're saying.
but I'm the kind of I'm the kind of guy that shouldn't be walking around where crowds are.
I can't remember the last time we were at a restaurant.
I'm not dead yet.
I can't remember the last time. So we're just cooking at home.
Mm.
Peanut butter and jelly goes a long way.
Last time we went out to eat together, I think you bought my dinner. So I guess I owe you.
I know a nice Viking restaurant we can go to.
Viking
restaurant.
Not too many people go for the Viking food.
That's true. That's true. I know I probably won't be eating Chinese food for the rest of my life. I'll just say that.
Let's see here. I'm looking for more questions here. Some that we haven't asked yet. Oh goodness. So I still haven't seen that guy's question. He said he's asked many times. I'm looking, but
so we can answer this one. How does the virus interact with diabetes? It's not that it interacts with diabetes, and you could speak to, you know, it's all about immunity.
It's just about people that are not at the highest level of immunity. People that are older no longer have quite their immune response that younger people have. People that are chronically ill or have chronic diseases that are known to affect general health, like the ones that I've mentioned. Those people are more likely. It's a statistic too. It's just statistically there. And people are just assuming it's because your immune system isn't that well. But for just some reason, if you're diabetic and you're over 65, your chances of dying from COVID-19 are much higher than somebody who's less than 65 and doesn't have diabetes.
Okay. Oregano. Well, that's just another essential oil. Let's keep going down. I'm going. It keeps.
Nobody knows as of yet with regards to any of the essential oils as to whether they work for COVID-19. That's just the answer.
You don't look over 70. Someone's Dr. Dude.
He's not over 70.
I'm 66. And it's all smoke and mirrors. I guarantee you.
He has no
makeup. If you saw me in person, you would say, "Hey, Grandpa."
So I'm gonna have
off grid with Doug and Stacy. That could have been who I took the class with. Stacy. This was at the Mother Earth in where was it? Near Asheville.
Oh yeah, Franklin or no, not Franklin. Someplace like that.
So
Doug,
actually could have been.
Yep. So I love Doug and Stacy because they love the Sun Oven. They have so many videos about the Sun Oven. We love them at Sun Oven. They're the best in the world. Did I say that? You know?
You did.
Okay. I won't read the one. Some lady said that Forrest looks 28. Okay.
You're a very young looking guy.
Whatever.
It's amazing the experience you have at being so young.
Yep. Hey guys, if you have any questions, I'm sorry. Maybe you can post them twice. Gosh.
Can you read that?
Okay. Here's a question. What can you say to folks?
Say his name first, so they know.
This is Lee Reed.
Lee Reed. Okay.
Okay. What can you say to folks who can't work from home, have to work in the public, can't afford to miss a paycheck? And you know what? I speak about that in the book, as a matter of fact. And those folks are the folks. This is why it sort of frosts my cookies that the government is saying that, don't go buy face masks, because the truth of the matter is that you're the kind of person who needs to have some protection. And because you really can't, because a lot of people can't avoid taking public transportation. A lot of people have to go to work, taking a bus or taking a subway. Depends if they're, in a city or not. Other people just have to work. They cannot miss a paycheck. And so these people have the right to have some kind of protection. And, just the fact that your boss can say, well, you don't have to come to work doesn't mean that he has to pay you for that work. At least I don't think so as of yet. The government says that they're going to do something, right? Didn't they say they were going to do something to?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying
Okay.
attention to what you're saying. I'm trying to read the questions. I'm sorry.
I think I heard in one of these things that they're going to, at one of the president's talks, that they're going to do something to.
What were you talking about?
Make up for missed wages.
Oh yes, there's a bill. There was a financial bill passed, and
I don't know how you're going to get to it.
Well, it's tax credits for the owner.
Oh.
They don't want anyone going to work who's sick. They do not want you going to work.
Right, he's not sick. He just needs to go to work.
I know, but I don't think they have a stimulus bill for that, for people who just don't want to go to work. I think you have to be sick, but they want people to stay home if they're sick, and they want you to feel like you're not going to get paid if you're sick,
Okay,
because
so
they
it's
don't
only if you're sick then.
Yeah, I believe you have to be sick.
Right. So you need Lee you need to have a mask. They still probably have some you can find. You might be able to find them in Home Depot or Lowe's. Those are things that probably would make sense. You probably don't if you're careful with the way with what you touch, you may not have to wear gloves. But between you and I, if I was out there and I'm just the kind of guy that touches things and touches my face, I would wear gloves and a mask.
So are we going to go to Heritage Life Skills? We don't know yet. I guess Jan does have an alternate date, but
she didn't tell me it yet.
Hmm?
She didn't tell me it yet. I was just wondering.
We'd like to go.
Is it in the fall?
It depends.
Yeah, the alternate date is in the fall.
Okay. I would say there's a 99.99% chance that I'm not taking him out of the house.
Yeah.
In 7 weeks.
Unless he really ticks you off.
Not even.
Yeah. She'll kick me out of the house,
6
but
weeks.
she won't take me out of the house.
So a garment steamer kill the virus? That's one question. Hang on.
We have those. We actually use those on
We
our
have
clothes
those.
every day.
Seems to me that would
is
get them hot enough. Yeah.
High heat.
You'd think
That
that
is
would
really high.
You think that would help? Again, no study has shown that works, but no study has actually tried it.
I think you did see a study on these though, and the steam destroys the filtering.
Yes, the filter capacity.
But if it's just my shirt,
yeah.
I mean, I think that would be a great idea.
Right. Yeah. Basically, the
love
international
steamers.
The International Medical Center in Beijing actually did use steam, wet steam.
Yeah.
And they found that it actually deteriorated the mask's 95%, the N95's 95% ability to filter, to block certain particles. So that it's not good for masks, but maybe for clothes.
How about thyroid issues and diabetes?
Thyroid issues and diabetes over the age of 65, you are in the same boat that I'm in. If you're a young person with thyroid issues and diabetes, it depends how bad your diabetes is. If you're an insulin-dependent diabetic, you would be somebody that would be considered high risk. I mean, I have a son who had a kidney transplant, and he's high risk, but he's taking anti-rejection medicine. So,
okay, you covered this before. One sentence. Why do they call it the COVID-19?
Because it's short for corona, CO, virus, V, and 19 because they claim that they identified it in December 2019.
Yes, you did that perfectly. Dang it, it skipped forward again. So, should you stop kissing your wife?
I'm not gonna.
Oh, okay.
There was a question. Someone works in work at hospital as social worker with no mask at hospital, small office with patients. What would a good plan? Social distancing. You just have to keep them 6 feet away. I mean, that's the best you can do. If you want to wear a mask, that's going to be up to you. But right now, they're saying your best idea is social distancing. If you have to be in the office 6 feet away, wash your hands a lot, wash the surfaces the patients are sitting in, touching, handles, desktops, chairs, everything you can, wipe them down. That's your best plan if you have to go to work.
Mm-hmm. Man, there's a lot of garment. Okay. Nebulizer for treating. A nebulizer.
With albuterol, I think they're talking about using it with albuterol. Now, albuterol is a prescription. So you would have to have had a prescription. If you can buy a nebulizer. I think we have 2 or 3 of them. So my kids had problems breathing when they were little, and I've had issues with asthma myself. But without albuterol, you can have a hydrating effect, almost like a humidifier going in there to help break up thick mucus. But the albuterol part of it, the medicine, which again is a prescription, you can't get it unless you have a problem, that actually opens up the airways. So now whether while you have coronavirus in the hospital, they're giving these patients breathing treatments with albuterol, I have not heard. We might find out in 6 months that, yeah, they were doing that and it was working, but that information is not coming out. It's possible some doctors are saying, you know what, we're going to try whatever we can to open up the airways to help them get more oxygen in there and to break this up. So they might be doing this right now, but I have not heard if they have or not. It sounds logical thinking about it.
Yep. There's another question, and I'm going to answer it. Does the bra mask work? No. Okay, next question.
You need to have two masks.
Oh, goodness.
Soaking clothes in a 5% bleach solution.
Will eventually make a mess of the clothes.
Well,
Yeah.
5%, that's pretty weak. I don't know. I just don't know. 5% for clothing.
Well,
soaking them. I mean, it sounds like that would work. And for how long?
6.25 or?
Well, I wouldn't put it in pure bleach because you aren't going to have any clothes left.
Oh,
and I know.
So 1 to 20.
If I pour bleach on this shirt right here, I won't have a shirt.
A 1 to 20 bleach solution. You're saying a 5% or 1 to 20 bleach solution. I still think it would be. I think it would damage the clothes. I mean, you might be able to do it once or twice, a couple of times, but in the end, it's going to be bad for the clothes.
Oh, let me look on the disinfecting thing. They might have a thing on. They talked about laundering, but I didn't see them mention bleach. They talk about surfaces, porous, rugs, clothing.
There's a rumor that ibuprofen shouldn't be taken with this virus. Is that true?
They prefer that you use acetaminophen,
Tylenol.
But I haven't seen anything that says that you are not allowed to take ibuprofen or something specifically bad will happen to you if you're taking it. Now, what you shouldn't be taking is aspirin, and especially if it's a younger person, because it can cause what they call Ray's syndrome, and it happens in people after a viral. If you have a viral infection, you were treated with aspirin, then that can cause a deteriorating disease called Ray's syndrome, REYE apostrophe S. Check it out.
Okay, I'm going to answer this question. Do you feel we're going to a total lockdown as other countries? Yes, I do. Do you agree with that?
Well, Chicago, I just told you guys, they just shut down the bars and the restaurants starting tonight. And I just got another notification that they're limiting restaurants to
half capacity,
pickup or delivery only. No, this just happened.
In Ohio, the entire state shut down.
Breaking news. Go ahead.
Ohio shut down restaurants and bars.
Yeah, they shut that down in Chicago starting tonight.
Yep.
And they're limiting in New York City. So, yeah.
And like I said, the first hour, I addressed a lot of things, more prepping questions and how to help your kids, what to do with your kids. And, I even covered what you said, Dr. Joe, is the numbers over the next 2 weeks are going to spike. Don't panic. because they've only administered a few thousand tests, and over the next 2 weeks, they're going to administer 50,000. So the number is going to go straight up, and you're going to go, oh, we're doomed. No, it's just that they're testing more. That as the test gets out, it's going to go higher.
Exactly right.
Yep.
There are a lot of people that are sick right now that just have no idea.
Right. They don't.
You just don't know it. A lot of people just don't feel it. They don't know it. And they're walking around with everyday other people getting them sick, and they don't know they have it either.
Right. And a lot of folks that are very young are not going to wind up getting very young like her.
So sweet.
Aren't going to feel very sick at all. They might feel a little bit like they have a cold or something like that. But the truth of the matter is their risk of dying is probably much less than 1%.
Mm-hmm.
But these people have older relatives, and those are the people that are going to wind up if they catch the infection from the generally healthy 25-year-old, and you have somebody that's 65, their grandpa or something like that, then that person can get really sick. And that's the problem. It's that 7% that wind up, ending up in critical or serious condition in the hospital. That's the problem. And that's why we're doing all these crazy things. We're eliminating bar. There's not a lot of 70-year-olds going to the bar. They're basically closing it so that the younger people don't go there and then wind up catching it and then going home to their relatives that are older.
Grandpa or grandma that might be living there.
That's why they're doing that.
So the statistics that I've read is 8% death rate, 70 to 79, and then 10% 80 and older.
80 and older.
So 70 and older combined is 18%.
I read 16% for 80 and older.
Oh, really? That much higher?
How many wives will kill their husband? No, never mind.
One, I know.
Stop.
My wife, she's already told me that she. Someone asked a question, and I'm going to kind of address it. I predicted in the first hour that all schools in America will be closed within 2 weeks, and not only will they close the schools, they will cancel them for the entire year, at least until fall. That is my prediction, and I'm getting some good intel on that because just 2 weeks, which is what they've asked for. In North Carolina, we closed them for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not going to do enough.
Totally believe it.
Getting out into April, and who's going to come back for one? I mean, I think that's my prediction. So, and I got in the first hour, there's some things you can do with your kids, and you need to start planning and think about, and you need to go to Hobby Lobby, and you need to start some hobbies right now.
You can get our board game, Doom and Bloom Survival.
Yeah, our board game that we put together is based on a pandemic.
I don't have that board game.
It's called Doom and Bloom Survival. We did a Kickstarter for it. I think it was in 2014. And we made little miniatures. There's a little miniature of Dr. Bones and a little miniature of Nurse Amy.
Nice.
Because we're characters in it. But yeah, we like I said, we thought about this. We started thinking about it in 2008, 2009. It kind of got a little real for us, and I went full on prepper mode. Like some people are waking up now going full on prepper mode. The blessed thing about when I did it is that I could order whatever I want, and nobody was out of anything, and nobody was really noticing. So, we were very lucky then. But
so let me ask you guys before you
on this for a long time. Oh, there it is.
Go ahead. Doom and Bloom Survival.
There it is. That's so funny. I didn't even know we had one at home.
So if someone smokes and vapes, I know what you're going to say, but is their risk higher, and should they stop or keep smoking or vaping?
For God's sake, stop smoking.
No, and the vaping, that they have issues with your lungs with vaping too.
And if you're playing Russian roulette, stop that too. Because that's what you're doing. It's really bad to smoke. It does all sorts of stuff. It causes
not good for your immune system either.
And
pounding that immune system.
And your lungs are weakened as a result. And so you're probably more prone to wind up getting, any kind of infection that happens to be respiratory.
Okay, this question is called Make Your Own Question. What things are we not asking that we should be asking from you guys? So it's kind of like dealer's choice.
Let's see. What should you be?
How about
asking?
how long this lasts on different surfaces?
Oh, how long?
I think that would be a good one. Do
Yeah,
you have
how
that
long?
up?
Well, we have on non-porous surfaces. The funny thing is that if the surface is like fabric, interestingly enough, it goes into the fabric itself and is no longer so much on the surface. So it's actually less likely you'll actually get infected from a fabric surface. But the problem is the fabric surface has a bunch of virus in it. And so eventually, extended contact with it is going to get you sick. The non-porous surfaces like plastic or, wood or
Copper, steel,
things
right,
like that.
right. Any solid.
Right. It will last for several days. Now, I've seen studies that say 3 days, and I've seen studies that say 9 days,
Right.
but the 9 days is really a long time. So it is a very hardy virus.
Yes.
So it is
hard to kill and likes to hang around in the air on surfaces. You know what? The other thing that I think would be interesting for you to talk about is how long is someone contagious? I've got
Right.
COVID-19. I breathe on you, and now COVID-19 starts multiplying in your body.
You are contagious in terms of how long are they going to keep you at home because they think you're contagious. It's going to be 14 days. But there are outliers. And outliers are people that have some weird numbers, and we don't know. That's why some people think there's a reinfection. There's some people that have gone out as far as 37 days and still maintained a positive test.
There's a guy from the cruise ship,
Right. Yeah.
who's still in quarantine.
Yeah, he's still in quarantine.
30-something days.
Yep, exactly right.
Still coming back with positive tests.
Oh, I also wanted one thing you might ask: can I get the flu and coronavirus at the same time? Yes, you can. You can actually get both of these things. They're different families of virus, so you actually could get sick with both of them at the same time. Believe it or not.
Don't try that though.
No,
No.
I would not recommend that. That is bad.
I had the flu a couple years ago and had pneumonia. Goodness gracious. I can't even talk. I can't read the words on there. My eyes are so bad. She had blood clots in her lungs.
Yes.
Activity.
Those are called pulmonary embolisms. And those are very, very scary and can actually, if it managed to get into a big blood vessel, could actually have killed you. I'm so glad that you're okay. But people in general, when you're sick, you shouldn't just lay in bed. If you just can't get up, that I understand. But if you're able to get up and walk around some, it's always a good idea. People that are bedridden wind up getting clots like our listener, our viewer. I didn't. Okay, whatever her name. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Is this a form of
that is
pneumonia?
very dangerous. Yes.
Is this a form of pneumonia?
This is a form of pneumonia. As a matter of fact, it has a certain look to it. As a matter of fact, it oftentimes is a double kind of pneumonia, in which you'll find evidence of pneumonia on X-ray in both lungs. So yes, so you'll see double pneumonia in with COVID-19.
Mm-hmm. Should I wash my hands? I feel like after. I mean, can I get this from watching you guys? Should I be putting some of this on?
We don't have it, as far as I know.
I was thinking kind of close, So someone asked, gosh, I don't want to ask this question, but what's the difference between DNA and RNA?
Virus. Okay.
Don't take long on this.
Okay, well, it's very simple. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. RNA is ribonucleic acid. The difference from the standpoint of viruses is that there are the DNA virus happens to replicate by hijacking the cellular machinery for reproduction in the nucleus. An RNA virus will wind up reproducing. It doesn't also invade the cell, but it duplicates in the cytoplasm, which is not the central yolk, so to speak, of the egg, if you wanted to use an analogy.
So the next question is, looks like the Italy's data model, the R naught is 16. And then I don't know what some lab says it's the R naught is 11.
I find it hard to believe that it's either.
What is R naught?
I believe that it is not that high. Measles is that high.
They want to know what R naught is.
Oh, the R naught number is also known as the basic reproduction number, and it is basically the number of people that will wind up catching an infection if you dropped an infected individual, one infected individual, into a population that had never been exposed to that disease at all. And so what happens with regards to that is the R naught will wind up infecting, let's say, a certain number of people. Usually in the coronavirus family, there's actually an established R naught. The R naught is around 3. And that means that for every one person that person touches or communicates with or contacts in that population, 3 people will get infected. And then those 3 people will infect 3 other people. And then it just keeps going and going. And that's how a pandemic starts.
Okay. Here's another thing I want you to discuss. What does a virus like in its environment? And I know that it doesn't like heat and it doesn't like humidity.
That's true.
That's why we tend to get influenza in the wintertime, because it likes the dryness and the coolness, which seems crazy because you would think hot and humid would make something replicate more, but it likes dry and cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're hoping, because we don't know about this coronavirus yet, that when the summer rolls around for everyone and it heats up and it gets super humid, that we're going to have a lot less cases. We are all praying for this so we can get a hold of it, get some studies done, maybe get a cure. That would be awesome.
I wanted to go very quickly back to the R naught. The R naught for the flu, for the seasonal flu, is 1.28. And the R naught for SARS, the original SARS, is about 3. The R naught for Zika is about 3 to 6. And the R naught for measles is 12 to 18, which is the R naught that I saw that was being quoted in the question. So there are very few diseases that are so contagious that basically you walk into the room and you have a 90% chance of getting infected. But the thing about contagiousness is the contagiousness and the death rate don't always correlate. For example, Ebola has an R naught of about 2. So indeed, it can form an epidemic, but it has a death rate of about 40%. Zika virus was even more catching. It was had a 3 to 6 R naught, but it killed very few people. I mean, it caused deformities in some newborns down in Brazil when it came around, but it didn't kill a lot of people. Matter of fact, most people had no idea they had it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the media has overhyped COVID-19 versus the flu? That's the question.
Well, I think that I think we should always be cognizant that there's a lot of flu coming around. We have it all the time. The problem with this is that the death rate from getting the flu is about 0.1%, whereas the death rate from getting COVID-19 is about 3%. So which means that COVID-19 is a good 30 times more dangerous than the flu in terms of actually killing you.
Plus what we were just talking about with the ages,
Right.
70 to 79,
Right.
about 8. And then you're now saying 16% for someone 80 and older.
Right. So
That's pretty high.
those are not, and the fact that 7% of the people wind up in serious or critical condition if 7% of the people that had the flu wound up with in critical or serious condition and needed to be on a hospital ventilator, then this country would be overrun with bodies in the street.
And I think that's one of the main things that we need to understand is, yes, there's a lot of people that may get this and not get terribly sick and maybe just fine and pass through it with hardly any problems. But the people, the 7% that end up in the hospital, we have a limited number of ventilators, guys. The whole world has bought out all the ventilators. I'm not even sure where they're made, but there exists no more. I don't know how long it takes to make them, but you can't find one. And they were talking today. It doesn't matter how much money you want to spend. I want to buy one for $200,000 because I'm a super rich person and I don't care. I want one. You can't buy it. It doesn't exist. So we have an exact number. That's it. If we overwhelm all of our hospitals, we have one more patient than they have a bed for, that patient is not going to make it.
That's
If
basically
they need a ventilator to breathe and you don't have a ventilator, that person's got about 2 minutes.
And that's what's happening in other countries. You'll find for a statistic that the people on ventilators in France and in the Netherlands are all less than 50. It's not because people that are 70 years old aren't getting very, very sick in those places. It's just that those people have been shunted to the side for people that they might have longer to live if they are able to save them because they're younger.
Okay, I have to say something. I really try not to make comments about colloidal silver, folks, but we don't have any scientific proof that colloidal silver kills coronavirus. So I really wish people wouldn't say that. It might help a lot of people with a lot of things. I don't have scientific studies, but I don't want people to rely on this one particular thing and say, oh, well, if I get it, I'll just take this and I'll be fine.
All right.
We don't have a study that says that. That's all I'm saying.
I will say this, that I don't know if people know about InfoWars and Alex Jones. Alex Jones is now in trouble with the government for putting forth a silver-based toothpaste that he said could cure coronavirus. So I think it's probably, very, very premature to say that any silver-based product will cure coronavirus. As a matter of fact, you get in trouble for it.
And so that's kind of the reasons I kind of stayed away from the essential oils and the colloidal silver, because again, we know Clorox works. Even if it's 50% Clorox and it hits the germ for enough time, it's going to kill it. We know that works. We don't know. And I know because we talked and you guys are like, we have no clue. You can't tell people that something may work because it works over here, but it might not work here. And so you just don't want to address, just go with what is the CDC tells you works.
Hand washing, respiratory hygiene.
Yes.
If you're sick, stay home. Don't leave if you don't have to. If we just keep ourselves away from people, we don't have to worry about these cures that may or may not work. Because we're going to be safe. And that's the whole point. Do things that are proven to help decrease us from all getting this. And then we don't have to worry about all of these other things.
Now, okay, someone just posted, the Surgeon General reported that they have ventilators. Okay, yes, they do have ventilators, but it's not for the public. They had some back in stock. What's that called?
Strategic National Stockpile.
Enough for the country. I doubt they have enough for the country. If we have 7% of the population goes to a hospital, I guarantee we don't have a ventilator for 7% of the people in this country.
Right.
Let me say that
it would be great if we did. I would love that, but we don't.
What I mentioned in my beginning statement, if you didn't hear it, was that there are about 100,000 intensive care unit beds in the United States that are available. The problem is that 80% of them at any one time are taken up by somebody that needs it.
Right.
So,
they're already using them right now. So,
so
the more people go and need these, they're going to have to make, you call them triage decisions.
Triage decisions, right.
Who is more likely, if they were on this machine, to survive?
Right. And how long, how many years would they have left?
Yes, but there are some in the stockpile, but not anywhere close. I mean, okay, guys, I'm going to just say this. If you're the CDC and the government, if they told you the truth, you would be running around in your front yard screaming with your head off. That would be that would be the reaction. Also, don't think that the media has not got a letter from national security saying you have an obligation for us to protect the public, so don't cause fear and panic. I mean, that letter's gone out. It's been on the internet. But literally, you'd be standing around in the cartoon going, "Oh, we're all going to die," if they told you the truth. That's why the short doctor, I don't know his name.
Fauci.
It's Fauci. We've got to get that curve. We've got to get that curve down. And I'm going to show that again.
Flatten that curve down.
You are responsible. When I say you, we are responsible to get that thing down. That's us. And the more we can get, is it on there yet? Yeah, there. So where do you want to get the virus? You're going to get it. 80% of the people in America, I think, is going to get it. Do you want to get it in the middle, the front? No, I want to get it all the way over there on the gray where it's getting down. That way we have something to protect us. We have maybe a shot, but they're not going to tell you the 100% truth. Do you agree with that?
I think if they did, people their minds would explode. The mental hospitals would be overwhelmed, because people who aren't prepared, like the folks that are listening to us, who are watching, who've been in this mindset for a long time, it might make us like a little nervous, but we've already gone through all those stages of grief, denial, anger, we're in acceptance already. We saw this in the future, maybe not right in January of, 2020 and now March, but we saw it coming. We knew something, and people prepped for different reasons. Financial, we're seeing them all come through. We've got a financial problem. We've got a food shortage. I mean, you name it, other than I haven't had a flood in my house yet. And the hurricane hasn't wiped my house off the foundation, but we got a lot of quote disasters going on right now.
We're hit by a tornado, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
So the other people who haven't thought about this, I see the government out there today and yesterday. Oh, you shouldn't be stocking up on food, but we're going to tell you to stay in your house for a few weeks, but don't buy too much food, but we might shut down your schools and your kids have to be home, but don't go buy too much food, and the good one was don't hoard. And I'm thinking, wait, you're telling us we can't be going to the grocery stores. Now you're shutting down the restaurants, the bars. Where's my food sources? Are you going to keep the grocery stores open? They're trying to reassure us that they are, but are we actually getting food coming into this country? So yeah, I'm hoarding. I am going to hoard because I want to eat and I don't want to starve. And I've had no place to go buy my food. I better have something in my house. And I think it's a terrible message that they're putting out on all these news stations, where government officials are telling people, oh, don't worry. We talked to all the grocery store owners. We talked to Publix, and we talked to Kroger, and we talked to Walmart, and they had a whole list of people they've just got off the phone with, and they all assure us they're going to stay open. Well, that's great. You can stay open, but are you going to have anything on your shelves? Because I have pictures right here on my phone of empty shelves right now, and people aren't even panicking yet. Some people are like, oh, it's no big deal. Well, yeah, it is a big deal. We need to get prepared.
I hope that this is going to be a lesson. If it's a painful lesson to learn, but if this helps to instill a culture of preparedness in this country, then at least some good will have come of it. And what that would mean is that there wouldn't be big crowds running to the grocery stores, because they already have some food put away and they have some other supplies put away, and that's that, and it just becomes natural to do that. And if we could just all instill that type of culture into the rest of the population, it would be a better world.
Yes. So that's I think we hit every question. If we missed it, I'm sorry. You can email them or give them a call on their bat phone. No, I'm kidding. But you can email them. Look back at all the videos. We did a lot of videos. We did one where they went and demonstrated the mask, the goggles, the whole deal. That was like a week ago. It's on this channel, and they're doom and gloom. They're the best, of course. And we'll be back, I'm sure. So let me ask you this one last question before you die. No,
Before I keel over.
This is 7% of America's population.
Mhm.
This is 7% of America's population.
No, 22 million.
I did 3 point. Oh, that's right. No, I got to
22
add some more
million.
zeros. I didn't
Yeah.
add enough zeros there. I thought I did, but they were getting so small.
So we
Yep.
need 22 million
Oh,
ventilators.
here we go.
If that were the
Times
case.
0.07. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
That's 7%.
and that's how many we need.
But
Yep.
we're going to flatten the curve significantly.
So
And
you want to prolong getting this, and you stay in your house. You don't go to work. You don't go to restaurants. Your kids are out of school, most of them anyway. That's how you don't get this. That's how we prolong that curve.
Yes. Stay safe.
So we'll see you in December. So with that
We're
said,
all going to be fine. Just stay in your house.
so with
Wash your
that
hands.
said,
be careful.
Go back,
that's all.
go back and watch the first hour, because you should be going at this point. You should have your food. If you don't go get your food, then you need to go to the bookstore. You need to go to Hobby Lobby. You need things to do over the next few months, because that's where you need to be, at home.
Yes.
That's right.
How long is this
Hello.
going to last, Doctor?
Say again.
How long is this going to last?
Mm.
Oh, okay. I believe that we're going to be on the ascending point, ascending part of the bell curve until for 2 months. We'll peak then, and then it'll
So
take
maybe
another
the-
2 months to go down.
So maybe the beginning of June, end of May.
Yeah, or June, July.
Which
Okay.
means
June, July. The reason why I say that is because by then everybody will probably everybody in the United States will have been tested, and so we're going to continue to get cases here and there. And one thing I think you guys need to know is that this may be a cyclical thing. This may now become a seasonal arrival, just like the flu is. You may wind up one day in the future hearing, "Hey, it's Corona season. Did you get your shot?
Right.
Your Corona shot?"
Right. If you can get it more than once, that's the problem. If you couldn't get it more than once, then we'd have a lot of immunity. We'd have herd immunity. So if you're surrounded by a bunch of people who have had it already and they're immune, you have a little less likelihood of getting it.
Right.
But if
that's the problem.
none of us become immune, it could swipe around again, just like the flu does.
I think it's going to be just like
Sadly.
the flu, and it may come back.
I certainly
Okay.
hope it does not like heat and humidity. I'm praying for that we get some relief this summer.
Okay. Well, amazing night again.
No, thank you, Forrest. We really appreciate being on, and we
You're the
hope
best.
everybody supports.
I can throw a kiss because it doesn't have virus on it.
Oh,
Through
go.
the air.
we hope everybody supports. We hope everybody supports PrepperNet, and I hope you guys will support us too. We're trying. We'll give you our opinion. Our philosophy is very simple. The opinion that we give you, and everything that we say, is pretty much what we would say. Advise.
To my dad, to your brother, to our kids, all of our
family.
kids, right?
So whatever we've
cousin.
mentioned, it's the same that we would have mentioned to a member of our family.
Exactly. Same conversations we've had with them.
And so before everybody jumps off, guys, this is important to all this information tonight is share. So on the YouTube, you can share it, send it to your family and friends. They might not be thinking this, or knowing this information. This information is some information you're not getting out there, not from the news and not from anyone else. So you share, and I don't make a dime off this. They won't let us monetize this, even if I could on YouTube. And so you share this with people so they can get this information, because it could save their lives. It really could. Who knew a YouTube video could save your life?
Knowledge is power. And I also want to say, I know every once in a while we've laughed, folks, but laughter, I believe, and my husband believes, and that's why we're going to be together forever, is laughter is the best medicine.
Right. So
although it's stressful and although there's a lot of realities that we don't want to face, but we have to come to acceptance about it, keep trying to find some humor in every day. Laugh about something silly. Keep the good humor going in face of all of the bad things that are going around you. Don't just get sullen and stressed out. That decreases your immunity.
Right.
Yes. Hey, thank you, Dr. Joe and Nurse Amy. They're doomandbloom.net. I think I have it right here. Look, oh, you know what I even have is this. Check this out, because I am so multitask functional.
You are the bomb. You really are.
Boom. There's their website. And when you go there, that's their website right there. And it has how many articles you got on there that are free?
Oh, gosh. Over 1,200 if you include the videos.
Yeah,
and
over
podcasts.
1,200.
With videos. Look, there's a bunch of podcasts that he has. Follow them, support them. He has first aid kits. He has everything. This is not about sales. They never want to. I push what they're doing because it's amazing. They've been very helpful and very instrumental in the preparedness community for years. So if you can buy a Band-Aid, buy it from Nurse Amy. If you can buy, I
have the best Band-Aids of all.
yes, her better than anyone else's.
I pack your kids.
Yes. And so thank you for joining us. Again, share this.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. And hey, go to PrepperNet, and it's a basic membership for free. And the only reason I want you to join that is you do get some free stuff, but I can then, if I think I'm going to do another one of these this week, I want to be able to send you that information. So I don't spam you. And that way you get on my mailing list and I can say, hey, I'm going live on Wednesday night. And there is a chance, and I'm working on getting Dr. Hatfield on, which is a huge name in this arena. And my friend is working on it, and it may be pre-recorded is the way we've kind of agreed to do it, but I'll be showing it to you live. So anyway, sign up for their mailing list. Oh, she's waving.
I have something important. There's a source that Joe and I have gotten really good statistics from, and I want to share it with you guys. World O, like the letter O, meters. That's METERS.info/coronavirus. Now, if you can't remember the /coronavirus, it's World O meters.info, and then it'll have different things that you can choose from. And one of the little icons will say coronavirus. When you click on that, you will see everything that's going on, every country, how many cases today, how many cases have they had, total deaths. Stop moving. Go back up. New deaths. Stop. Total recovered, active cases, serious critical, and total cases per 1 million population, which actually that stat is new on the end there. That one wasn't there before.
Interesting.
They give you little summaries at the bottom of this, who's gotten it. If they know anything about the person or people that have gotten it in different countries, they'll tell you ages, backgrounds, all kinds of things. So it's really, really interesting. They pull from a lot of different sources. worldometers.info/coronavirus.
Okay, guys, that's all the questions. I saw some that weren't, there were some financial ones. There were some other ones that we can address on another night, but didn't want to really bring them up tonight. So thank you, Dr. Bones, Dr. Joe, and Nurse Amy. And I'm sure we'll have you on again for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Forrest.
Yep. You
Thank
guys,
you so
everyone
much.
take care.
Okay, take care, guys.
Bye.
Okay.
We care about you.